Hello, welcome to tonight's session. Um, Tonight we begin a new journey. Let me pull this up. Our story begins in Neverwinter, but that won't last long. The year is 1499 DR. You are all in the Jewel of the North, a city brimming with life and culture, one of the shining stars of the Sword Coast Alliance. It is springtime, there's trees, plants, and flowers have recently come alive in the past days. Citizens spend more time in the city squares, gossiping, traveling, shopping. Across the northern section of the city, across the river that splits the city in two, an assortment of citizens go about their lives, not knowing the horror that lies in wait. Will they meet their destiny or meet their doom? You have all heard rumors and murmurs from the citizens about a strange caravan of people on the outskirts of the forest, to the east of the city, just beyond the walls. The Lord's Alliance has picked up reports that they've begun harassing townsfolk and other visitors as they come and go, demanding either money or wine, and threatening anyone to put hexes on them who doesn't pay up. Yesterday, the Lord Protector of Neverwinter, Daggalt Neverember, ordered several guards to scare the mysterious visitors away, but they couldn't get the job done. When the guards returned, they spoke sympathetically about the visitors. Their main wagon was immobile, and none of them could complete the repair. It also seemed as if the guards had been magically charmed, as if they didn't act like themselves. Lord Neverember doesn't want an armed conflict, but he aims to send a stern message to the visitors, and he asks a Stingblade of the Lord's Alliance to deliver on his behalf. If they don't leave before dawn, I'll burn their wagons to the ground. I don't give a damn what you do, make them leave. Perhaps a visit to the Artificers Guild may provide assistance with their alleged wagon problem. So, we begin in the city on two members of the Lord's Alliance. A more experienced warrior, someone who has worked their way up a couple pegs in the Lord's Alliance. We look to Thrud, who is accompanied by a smaller humanoid known as Henry. So, Thrud. At this point in time, you were instructed by the Lord's Alliance to, and by Lord Neverember himself, to perhaps go meet up with a couple folk at the Artificers Guild to inquire about some assistance to the Neverwinter Wood just to the east of town.
I'm assuming this is kind of like Henry has been introduced, and it's kind of like you're showing him the ropes while all of this is happening at the same time.
If that is, yeah, I would probably presume you guys have been together for a couple weeks.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I knew where I was falling with how long they've known each other.
Yeah, probably a few weeks. Like, good acquaintances. Like, I mean, he's been assigned to your detail.
Okay.
Most of your contracts and things you've been carrying out has been mainly in the city. This is probably one of the first times that Henry's going to be leaving the city to carry out a contract for the Lord's Alliance.
Okay. I guess how far is the Artificers Guild from wherever we are within the Lord's Alliance section?
I mean, nothing more than like a 5-minute walk to the east.
Okay, so not like super far. I wasn't sure, like conversation-wise, as to how much time we'd need.
Nope, it wouldn't take long.
Throd's gonna kind of like just give a little head nod for the orders he's been given, and he's gonna turn to Henry. All right, boy, are you ready to set forth on your adventure with the Lord's Alliance? Well, let's go see how much trouble we can get into. And he's gonna kind of like reach down and like, as gingerly as he possibly can, like kind of like pat him on the shoulder before leading him towards the Artificers Guild. About like halfway to there, he's gonna kind of like look over at Henry. Have you ever been to the Artificers Guild here?
Well, I haven't really made it out of the city, except to come to the city, so not really. Just came straight to the guild.
Well, the best advice I can give you, Henry. Don't touch anything they're very particular about their wares, and I'd rather not see you lose a hand before you earn your stripes within the Lord's Alliance.
Not to worry, so.
Um, if you'd like to describe kind of the two figures that are walking down the street towards the Artificers Guild, we can start with you, Thrud.
Kind of like character description?
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Okay. I want to make sure. I'm like,
paint us a picture.
Thrud is, I guess, I don't know if he'd be tall or short for orcs. He's 6'5", coming in at 220 pounds. He's a bit on the, I'd say, older side for a half orc. He is that now. Okay. So apparently, he has, I guess you'd call it like a faded mohawk for a haircut that is of just jet black hair. His eyes are a steelish blue, and he has like a grayish tint to his skin.
And what are you wielding? Any weapons on your side?
Not particularly on my side, more like kind of on my back. There's a great axe, like strapped to his back.
All right, Henry. What do we see when you come around one of the blocks?
So Henry is standing at a massive 5 foot, 115 pounds. He is a Heron. He is from the Feywild. He is essentially a rabbit humanoid. Brown fur, little specks of white mixed out. He's wearing a dark blue headband that's tattered, and it has a small, it's like a thin white line through it that you would just mistake for a stripe if you didn't look close to see that it was in fact a lightning bolt that went through the entire headband. He's wearing boots made for a Heron, more kind of wide and pointed, kind of like a pair of monk's pants to aid with the bulk of his fur, and sort of like a gi with an overcoat, just a small jacket over it. He is brandished with a small buckler strapped to his left arm and a wakizashi on his left hip as well.
I love this. This is great.
Oh, what now?
This is so much
A
fun. I
a
love this.
wakizashi. It's basically a small katana.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, Henry. Henry, thank you.
Not a problem.
You guys kind of continue to walk, and you hear murmurs in the city of some folks that are thankful for what the Lord has done for the city in the last few decades. And to your knowledge, Henry, this is relatively new, where Thrud, you'd have more of like an inkling and just knowledge of the general history of the city, that at one point in time, just over like half a century ago, there was a massive eruption that severely damaged the city. And the exiled lord from Waterdeep had come to Neverwinter's aid to rebuild and reestablish this Jewel of the North. So just some little bit of tidbits for you guys to kind of get an idea of like the current happenings and the kind of thoughts of the citizens in the city. Shriek, Um, you are. What would you be doing at this point in the city? Would you say?
I would
Being prob
probably
are
go.
you new to the city or have you been here for a while?
I would say he's probably been here for a while. I think last time we talked, I think that we came to the fact that he would be in maybe some kind of library, just doing running
Yes.
around, doing putting books back and fetching things for other people and things like that.
Okay. Um, you are heading towards the library to return some books and maybe pick up a book for yourself. You see, it's a small child, maybe no older than 10 years old. There's like dirt on his face, and he has a fistful of papers of parchment. And you notice him hand a couple to some passerbys as they come by him, and then he kind of makes eye contact with you and like starts darting in your direction, like holding out a piece of paper.
Okay.
He gets close to you. He's like right before you at this point. Like he's like right. He's looking up at you, and he's holding out this little piece of parchment. Sir, um, I've been paid to hand these out. You should take one and think about it.
All of these books, and I'm just like, there you go. I grab, I just kind of bend over and I kind of grab it
Okay.
and just kind of like walk around, keep going, you know.
You keep going into the
Yeah,
library.
absolutely.
Um, so you head into the library, and you can see there's the this human woman who's got kind of like mid length hair of like brown hair, and she's got like a pair of glasses on that are a little bit slumped to the side, and she seems busy at the reception table of the library. And you've encountered with her a lot. She's not a big talker. Um, but she kind of doesn't even her eyes don't even like leave what she's working on. She's like, "Oh, you can leave the books there."
And just for, just kind of do the same thing. Um, Shriek. So I am a Kenku, right? I'm gonna go ahead and read the description. So
Hell yeah.
he's a 5'2" Kenku, all black feather. So that's like a raven humanoid. Uh, all black feathers that have a like teal purple oil on water look, like in the light. Uh, and then he wears all black robes and he has solid black eyes and a black beak.
Just in case folks don't know what kenkus look like, this is similar, um, but they've become more socially acceptable. In the past, there may have been, like decades ago, there may have been some uh, aversion, but it's kind of one of those things where, especially in Neverwinter, and you've noticed this a lot, Shriek, is it's very welcoming, and it's like a cosmopolitan city where like any race, any culture, there's little shrines speckled out in the city of Neverwinter. It's a harbor city. There's a lot of trade that comes through, um, but you're able to kind of slump in and kind of get lost in the crowd if you so wanted it to be. But you want to take a look at the little slip of parchment that the boy gave you?
Yeah, so I'll go to the front and I'll put down like the returns, in kind of like this cubicle thing that's been set up for me so that I can go ahead and put them back, throughout the day, and I'll unfold the this crumpled up piece of paper and I'll start reading it.
Um, you open up the piece of paper and it's written in common, and it says, um, "Come to the woods to meet the Vistani. A person like you would feel right at home. Come tonight after sun sets." And that's it.
Okay, it's very interesting. I'll fold it up and put it in a fold of my robes, um,
Okay.
and then just start going about my business.
Okay. Um, let's see. Thrud and Henry, you approach to the main doorway of the Artificers Guild. You can see there's this massive metal sign that's kind of built above the door. It's got a gear. It's got like a smithing hammer, some tongs, and it's got a like a woodworker shiv that's kind of like this massive branded kind of emblem. You guys have, I mean, Thrud, you have probably interacted with them more than a couple dozens of times in your history of working with the Lord's Alliance, just by either procuring objects or getting some assistance, acquiring like an order from them. A lot of like your early days spent making running errands and kind of earning your keep. But you guys are now standing in the doorway. The doors are wide open, and you can kind of smell the charcoal, the burning. You can hear tinking of metal, and it's just the building is alive, and you're standing outside it.
Kind of as we approach, Throat's gonna like stop. And he's gonna turn to look at Henry quick, and he's be like, "Welcome to the Artificers Guild, my boy."
I know I've already been here for a few weeks, but this city ceases to amaze me.
Trust me, it is very much a marvel in and of itself. I'm quite sure there's things even after 15 years of being in this city I'm going to learn still, but please, after you. And he's gonna like step to the side and like take that arm out to allow Henry to pass him and head in, just so he can like take that initial like holy crap feel.
So this is where the Tinkerers are?
Very much so, and like I said, whatever you do, some of them be very, very careful touching the things. I've never seen short people get so angry because you one time, and he's gonna like kind of like drone off like, better shut my mouth.
Not to worry, hands off. Got it.
Dan and Augustus, specifically, you two had been given word that the Lord's Alliance would be stopping by today for some assistance with an issue with the visitors outside of the city gates, just to the east. I would probably assume you guys are in a room or like the main lobby area, kind of like awaiting the visitors. But you could be doing anything at this point, really.
Yeah, sure. I think that's fair. Is there sort of like a waiting area almost for the?
Yeah, there's like a main entrance, kind of yeah, like a lobby, like an entryway where there's never anyone who mans the front desk. It's just there for like cosmetic purposes. But you guys can kind of, there's a larger room that you first walk into where there's some seating. Um, there's billboards lined up with requests for different artificers, whether it be anything from solvents to mechanical devices, and some other things about the union representative votes are going to be tallied in next month. It's just kind of like more of like has a university / college like hangout lobby type area vibe to it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think I'd be hanging out there.
Dan, would you be with Augustus this point?
Sure.
Okay. It's afternoon time. It's around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's not dark out yet. It's still pretty bright out, but you guys kind of knew that they were coming in the afternoon. But you guys do see a rather tall figure enter in through the doorway, kind of like cast this silhouette type shadow, and this about almost a foot to 2 foot shorter Harengon kind of walk through. If Augustus, you want to kind of describe to the party what they see as they enter in the guild.
Yeah, Augustus is a light blue-skinned Vidalcan. He doesn't have any hair. He has a light brown robe covered in a significant amount of stains, and he has a pair of alchemical goggles on his head. Around his torso, he has all sorts of like little belts and pouches. You can see like a little, almost like a bandolier of like vials on his chest. And he has like a little pouch with all sorts of things, and you can even see a little some sort of cup or jug on hanging off of his waist that has some symbols on it. Uh, and yeah, he's a little bit shorter than Thrud. He's around a little bit under 6 feet, but he's a fairly normal size compared to like humans and that sort of thing.
Okay. Adan, what do they see as they kind of enter into this lobby area? You kind of leaning up on the counter table or something? The desk?
Adon is sitting down on the ground, head kind of down into his lap, and his hands are down there too. What you initially see is the top of his head. On the top of his head are a pair of goggles, gold around the glass, leather, brown, dark leather color around the back. On the goggles, it's just a big enough area for him to see that he's kind of wiped off, but everything else is just messy. Everything that you see on him is a mess. He's wearing leathers, studded leathers. He's got one strap around his over his shoulder, and then down by his waist, kind of where he's working right now, is a bag, and it almost looks like a fanny pack. What we would see as a fanny pack. He's working on something, kind of talking, mumbling under his breath. And every once in a while, you'll see something to the side of him just shift, move, and he pushes away a couple times, and he'll bring it back. And he's just so focused on his work that he really doesn't notice anybody come in. Oh, sorry. He is. I missed the biggest part here. Adon is a rock gnome. He stands about just over 3 feet, 3 feet 3 inches. While he looks, you can't really discern an age because of the height, but he looks relatively young. No, that's the big part that I missed.
We got
I
tiny.
think he's a very handsome gnome for sure.
We got a tiny ass party.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
But there's only like
Average
there's
height
one
is, like,
person.
5 foot.
There's one person that's over 6. Everybody's like, oh, I'm 5'3".
Well, the last game we had, everybody was super tall.
No,
Yeah,
That's true.
it's just this is
We're just
our new name. Our new name is Fury of the Small.
It's just better boss and better places.
Yeah. But yeah, Thrud, you kind of enter in and you kind of make eye contact with probably Augustus at this point, being like a regular acquaintance.
Kind of like as we walk in, giving Henry a little bit like the backstory of what Thrud knows of the Artificers Guild, and kind of knowing the general direction of like where he would go in the past to wait to like meet up from somebody from the Artificers Guild. He's going to see Augustus and Adan over there, and Thrud's going to kind of like elbow Henry just to get his attention. And he's going to nod over in that direction before walking over there.
Okay.
Welcome, Thrud. It's been a while. I presume you're the ones that were sent for the Lord's Alliance.
Well, you'd be correct there, Augustus. You know how it is. Even after all these years, they still have me doing all the small work, but this is my, I don't know, Henry, what would you say? Would you say you're my new charge, my new apprentice? What word would you prefer to be called? I'd rather just not assume.
Well, I'm simply an initiate. I guess you're my mentor. I'd probably say apprentice. It's a good word.
Then, gentlemen, this is my apprentice, Henry. Henry, this is one of the Lord's Alliance's contacts with here with the Artificers Guild. This is Augustus.
Yes, hello, I'm Augustus. Welcome to the Artificial Guild. Is this your first time?
That's right, yes. It's my first time in a city in general, actually.
Well, whatever things you've seen in the city, there are even more amazing things within the guild. Uh, this is my companion, Adan.
Yes, yes. Hello. Shake his hand. Out from between his arm comes out it looks like a wrench. It comes floating up to you, and it just sits there waiting in space. And he continues working between his legs. He's pulling things out of this fanny pack, and as he pulls it out of the fanny pack doesn't move much as you'd think it would. He just keeps pulling things out and adding to what he's creating, and not really paying attention to you guys.
Uh,
He's a bit,
uh,
he's passionate working on his projects.
I'll I'll shake the wrench as it's floating in midair. It's good to meet you, Dan Augustus.
He said your
You've
name.
never heard of me? You haven't.
No. Sorry. I'm actually I'm from a far away.
Yeah.
Have you ever
yeah,
heard of
yeah,
the?
That's what they all say. That's what they all say. And he puts his glasses back on and right back down.
Have you have either of you heard of the Feywild?
Yeah, another plane of existence, I believe, but I mean, just in stories, really.
Well, I'm from the Feywild. My family's served in the Lord's Alliance for a very long time.
From the Feywild. Well, that is very interesting. And how did you come? Well, anyway, maybe for another discussion. You had some sort of business with the visitors in town, I believe. That's what we were. It was sort of vague on what we were told you needed assistance with.
I believe so. Thrud has all the details. I'm simply just tagging along.
Kind of standing there watching all this. Thro's just gonna like fold his arms across his chest, just watching this interaction, just seeing how Henry reacts with like the Artificers Guild.
Oh.
Kind of seeing everything go smoothly. He's just gonna have like a small smile across his face.
Apologies, Captain Thrud.
Henry, we're not at headquarters. You can refer to me as ever you please. I don't care, boy.
Right.
Now, Augustus, we are here on means of those visitors. The Lord would like us to remove them, if at all possible, and we've been given orders to do it however we deem necessary, but they're hoping maybe some of you artificers could give us a hand. I guess something about their carriage being broken, I don't know full details. I haven't been out there myself.
I see more of a repair job. Okay. You know where they are at the moment, then?
All I know is they're roughly east of the wall outside of town, outside of the city. As for exact details, nothing yet, but I'm sure we will find out.
Right. I guess you will be leading the way then. We were not told much else besides that we would be assisting you. Adan, are you all ready to go?
Yeah, I suppose you're really interrupting this. Fine. And he takes what he's working on, and it's about a foot wide and just a couple inches tall and long, and he just opens up this fanny pack and just shoves everything back in. And he stands up, he hops up, and starts, and he's ready to go.
I guess suppose lead the way then.
Were you going to say something, Tim?
Nope, I was just clearing my throat.
No, okay.
Unless you guys have anything else to say. Are you guys heading towards... Are you going to start leading this group to the outskirts?
Out of curiosity, on like a map, like showing the surrounding of Neverwinter, roughly where would they be if you can...
Ooh, we got a map.
I divulged that information.
Yes, so you can see that the city is split in two with a river. You guys are in the northern side here, so you're the guild as well as the main hall of the Lord's Alliance kind of lies within the Tower District. And that's named after the clock tower. There's this massive clock tower that's to the east that can be seen from any point in the city. Yes, there's a road that leads straight north out of Neverwinter that leads. It can continue north or cuts branches off and goes towards the forest, Neverwinter Wood.
Okay, so I'm assuming by the northern road you mean the one above Shard of Night on the map?
Yep.
Okay. Kind of looking over a map, I was just like, oh, okay, I know exactly where we're going. Any questions about where we're going, I can answer them. I actually was raised in the forest. Long story. Maybe another time over a glass of ale or something. But come on, everybody, let's go.
What are we doing? What's going on here? I don't understand. I've been called off, distracted from my work. What are we doing?
He just explained there, Don.
Oh,
Pay attention even when you are working. Even if you're grabbing food.
Nope, nope.
I believe we're repairing a cart of those less than wanted visitors.
Fine, we can take it.
You know how far from the city they are?
You were told it wasn't more than half a mile outside the city, Thrud.
Okay. They're maybe a couple of city block distances away from the outer walls. Kind of as they reach the doors to come into the guild, Thrud's going to stop. He's going to kind of like half turn. He's going to look at both Adon and Augustus. Just out of curiosity for the two of you. If a fight breaks out, how do you plan to protect yourselves? Because I don't see any weaponry on you.
What do you take us for? Do you know who we are?
Your artificers.
Dan and Augustus, I believe.
Yeah, yes, thank you, short one. Anyways, we fought before. We fought many times. Well, I can't speak for Augustus here, but we can hold our own.
He does have a point. I left my hand axe upstairs. Give me a moment.
I would like literally my subscription to Sirenscape, Fantasy Grounds, and D&D Beyond is worth it for if I get to listen to Magnus Augustus for the next 2 years. I love it.
Good.
I'm so here for it.
I'm literally sitting over here trying not to burst out laughing.
It's so good. It's so good.
So good. Keep it up, please.
Thank you.
So you guys watch as Augustus kind of I would presume you kind of have more of like a very good posture, Augustus, as you kind of exit the room. So you collect your items from your work area. Are you guys? Yep, go.
Just for like description purposes, I have just a normal dagger, and then my main melee weapon that I have on my hip is just a fairly simple hand axe, and then as well I have a light crossbow on my back that you can see. It doesn't look like any of it has a ton of use generally, but that's what he has.
And Adon has a hammer on his side, on his hip, and he also has a crossbow on his back. And on this crossbow is just all sorts of metal pieces and different. It almost looks like something that he built on his own, but on the bottom of it, all you can see that it was wooden at one point, and it was probably made by somebody, but he just keeps trying to modify it. But nothing really seems to make sense on there. And then that's it that you can see.
Cool. So you guys exit the guild and start heading towards the gate. And just as you guys pass there's a, it's kind of like a shopping district. Um, they sort of got a few different things going on in this the Tower District. There's the library in which you're at this point, Shriek. And just as you guys kind of pass by this library in this group, um, you're exiting out of the doorway of the library, Shriek, and Adana's probably occupied tinkering with something, not really paying attention where he's walking, and slams right into your back.
Excuse me. Are you? Watch where you're going. I'm doing work. You almost broke this.
I guess I just kind of like stumble forward onto the ground, and then I look up and I don't think I've ever seen a rock gnome. Uh,
I'll
so I just kind of like look,
I'll help
and
Shriek up.
blink a couple of times.
I'll help him up. Don, come on, and I'll help Shriek up. Sorry about that. Seems this individual's just a little flustered, but we apologize. Everything all right?
I open my mouth, and then all you hear is ding, 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 like the doorbell to the library, just ding, 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 coming from the throat. And I go back and I pick up the couple books that I dropped on my way back or leaving from. I'm not exactly sure what I was doing.
I would probably assume you were leaving the library at this point after doing whatever you were doing after returning the books, whether you're taking more.
Okay.
You're probably en route to your next destination.
Okay.
Something that did fall off your neck that you've acquired from somewhere, like you can't pinpoint where you got this from, and like it was on your person at some point. You look down at this. It's kind of like mixed in on the ground with the books, and it's this amulet. It's probably about the size of I would say like an apple, so maybe about 4 inches in diameter, and it's copper, and it's got these tiny little gears that are interlocked inside of it. Think of it similar to Doctor Strange's amulet he had.
Okay.
It's constantly rotating and turning, and you've probably spent a lot of time trying to figure out more about it, but you've kind of like been unable to really discern its true nature, because it does have an odd aura to it, I would say.
Okay, yeah, he definitely like kind of like scrambles and like kind of avoids the books even just to make sure he can get that and tuck it away.
Hey, let me grab some of this for you, and I'll reach down and I'll start picking up or trying to pick up some of the books to help.
I hope that Adan has not given you any injury.
Wait, what is that? What did you just drop?
Adon,
So Shriek just again he tucks it away he puts it around his neck and tucks it away as soon as he can, and then he looks and he just opens his mouth and just ding 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 again, ding 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 ding, the bell from the library door opening, and he picks up his books and keeps going.
wait, you forgot. And I'm just holding
the young one.
I'm just holding a random book in my hand now. What is the book that I'm holding?
I don't know, what kind of book would you have picked up at this point, would you think, Shriek?
So mainly it's just, the people, like this is like a kind of like a delivery service, right? Like
Yeah.
a courier. So like anybody and anywhere in the city that needs something, I would just have to go out and deliver. So it could be anything. It could literally be anything.
The book you kind of pick up and look at, it's Proper Hygiene After Being Resurrected.
Oh. this is
That's pretty interesting.
this is quite. I'll kind of flip through it.
Seems like an older book, um, haphazardly written.
Well, um, I guess I'll return this to the library when we get around to it. Or maybe not. I don't know where this book came from. Do we? Can I look around and see if I can see where he went?
Yeah, make a perception check. Are are you trying to just? Are you consciously trying to blend in Shriek, or are you just like not even paying any attention to them and just like kind of going on your own?
He's just kind of going. He's just going on his way at this point.
Um, in the afternoon time, around like 3 o'clock, it's pretty busy in this district, especially this kind of like main area, and there's a lot of folks, so it's hard. It's like trying to find Waldo. It's like a Where's Waldo or like a dance cover.
Okay. Well,
It's just a lot of movement.
all right. Well, I guess I'll hold on to this. Maybe we'll run into him again. Maybe we don't let Adon stay in the front.
Well, Don wouldn't be in the front. Fred would be in the front
Harry,
since he's leading
Harry.
everybody.
Harry, what's your problem?
No problem. I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Okay, well, that thing around his neck, it was cool. It had gears on it.
It did look interesting, but
What thing?
Should we follow him?
What
I
thing?
think
no,
maybe we take it?
We have work to do.
I wouldn't
I
worry
think
about.
you need to
I didn't even see
keep
anything.
your eyes up, Adon.
There's nothing more important than what I'm doing right now. Well, maybe what I'm doing tomorrow is more important.
Right.
Well, anyways,
Right. Let's go. Come on. And I'll just get behind and start like funneling people forward. All right. Come on.
Ted is watching Henry like push these two around, like trying to addle them in. Rod's gonna let out a small chuckle. Henry, you're doing great. Do me a favor, cover over your guard for me. And Rod's gonna turn and start moving, like leading the group back out through the city gates and everything.
Not a problem, Captain.
Okay. So the group kind of continues towards the northern gate, and as you approach, it takes about 20 minutes or so to like make your way through the crowd and to the kind of northern gate here. There are a group of people that are all bunched up at the gate to leave going north. I would say probably around 15 to 20 people are like stopped right now at the northern gates by the guards. And there's some murmuring and chatter.
Like as we're coming up on this and seeing it, Thread's gonna kind of like hold up a hand to just tell everybody to slow down a little bit. Can he hear what is being discussed by like the civilians and everything?
Yeah. You hear, you guys can all kind of like hear just the conversations of like, I got this letter from this little boy that there was going to be something exciting tonight. And there's a woman who's just kind of like, I heard that they make your wishes come true and that they'll read your future. It's pretty crazy. And there's just like a mix of people. They just seem like this little boy's campaign is kind of gathered some interest by the local city folk. And when do you think they'll let us out? Well, they said they won't let us out till probably a couple more hours. They have some folk coming through here later to take care of some business up there. They don't want anyone getting lost to these strange visitors.
Kind of like overhearing that, Thread's gonna just like turn his head to look over his shoulder. Who would be behind Thread, out of curiosity?
I think I would go behind you and then have Henry watching Adon from behind.
Kind of like looking over his shoulder, Thread's gonna look at Augustus and just kind of like raise an eyebrow, giving that look of like, have you heard anything about this?
Um, Nothing really more than rumors, I suppose, but people make up all sorts of things.
Kind of like shrugging his shoulders, so he's gonna turn back and he's gonna kind of like lead the group around the gathering of people that are here, and he's gonna kind of like walk up to one of the guards and clear his throat to get the guard's attention.
Guard kind of they stand in there with a spear, and he's got like one kind of like fucked up eye. Hello, you can go out to the north.
Yes, we're from the Lord's Alliance and the Artificers Guild to handle the situation beyond the walls.
And I'm from your mum's house. What does that get me?
I was just gonna kind of like squint at him for a minute, and he's
I
gonna
can do-
slowly.
I could do that too. See?
But I was gonna slowly lean in next to the man's head just to whisper so nobody else hears him, and he's just gonna. I don't know, my mother boy. So choose your next words very carefully. I will make you a permanent part of this wall. And he's gonna just slowly lean back. Now, are you going to open the gate so we can do our job, or would you rather let me report to the Lord's Alliance for tampering with our investigation?
I would say make a intimidation check.
Yeah, that's.
So while he's doing that, I think
Are you fucking kidding me?
Shriek realizes now that he has missing one book, and he is running backwards because he does not want to lose his job.
Because he does not want to lose his job.
It is the only place that gave him a job.
Are you gonna head back to the library or just retrace your steps?
Yeah, just run back to where he kind of. I think that it's reasonable to say that he like realizes that he dropped all of his books there and that he probably left it there, and that he's just gonna go back to outside the library where he knocked into the gnomish man.
Okay. You retrace your steps very methodically, and just eyes on the ground, watching, looking for any sign of this book. You eventually come back to the front door of the library, and the book is nowhere to be seen. Panic sets in.
Yeah. Can I do can I roll a perception to see if I can see any of the people that bumped into me?
Yeah. Make a perception check
Okay, so we're gonna go
as you kind of survey this kind of like city type district.
Oof.
Not horrible. You take a moment and look around. You can see it within the doors of the library, the librarian who's just not really still head in the books, and you're like, oh god, no, I don't want her wrath. But you don't see the ragtag group that you bumped into. Do you want to ask around to see if anyone kind of seen anyone who matched the descriptions?
He can't really talk well.
Ooh. You could mimic
That's exactly what I was.
speech. So like, I'm sure there's some way that you could we can just say for story wise, you're able to use your limited speech and kind of pull some of past conversations that you've overheard, and are able.
Yeah, I don't think that he can. He can't really form sentences organically.
Yeah,
So it's not like he could repeat something that he heard perfectly. But it's not like he could say, hey, did you see people matching this description?
Mhm.
I mean, unless he knows the voice extremely well.
But like, I could imagine it could be something like you can say all those words, but some of them would be in like different voices, and so it might be a bit
almost like a
You get
speak
like
and
the word
spell.
like the
Yeah.
from someone, and then like,
He-
have you heard of it from someone else?
Okay, so yes. So he has never. I'm trying to. I don't know how much I should say without. I don't think it would be viable. Uh,
I would assume you'd have a book. You could still write, correct?
yeah. He can write
So
pretty well.
perhaps you communicate via like small notes written down. Maybe you try to draw a picture of Adon and maybe show it to somebody, and you just
Okay,
like point at the book. Maybe that would be an
now
option.
you're gonna make me draw something. Okay.
No,
All right.
no.
No way you're gonna make
You're
him
good.
draw something. All right.
Yeah,
So
you
all right.
could.
So yeah. So is that possible? Can he do some investigation
Yes.
to try and see if he could find out where they went by
Yes.
like a mix of that? Yeah, he'll do a little sketch because he got a pretty good look because he'd never seen a rock gnome before, and he did
Burned
look
it.
at him for yeah. So it's kind of like oh wow.
Nightmare fuel.
Yeah, so he kind of has that burn in his brain. So do a little sketch and just kind of do up a little like, have you seen these? A little doodle next to it.
Yeah. Make an investigation check. Okay, decent.
Ooh.
You spend probably uh 30 minutes. I think Shriek would be uh aware of missing the book not too long after the group left you. You
Okay.
probably got maybe 50 feet away and you look down and you're like, oh no. Um, but you're able to kind of get pointed in the direction that they noticed there was a mainly Lord Alliance figures and a couple odd fellows. Like you're like, hey, you drew a picture of a short person and a tall person, and you wrote blue. So it was easy for people to be like, oh, okay, yeah, they went that way. So
And
you're
then
probably on
yeah.
their tail, maybe like 5 minutes behind after kind of having the conversation with folks.
Okay, yeah. And then he probably notices like the commotion going on at the gate, right?
Yes, you
So
kind
he
of
could safely
approach,
say,
and that's
okay,
also weird, strange. You're like, what's going on here?
okay, yep. So before he does drop the books off back at the library so he didn't finish delivering them, so he just kind of dropped them back off before he goes to look for the other one.
Okay. Um, when you approach, and you can see there's just like a random selection of citizens that are kind of huddled around the gate, and then what you do see is a very tall, a head kind of by the city gate, kind of above most everyone else. That's just like there's like a mohawk that's kind of like black hair and like pale kind of gray skin. It stands out. So you kind of push your way through some of the folk to kind of get up close.
I feel like that's what he's trying to. I don't think he's succeeding very well. So he's very small, and I assume that's like a pretty packed
Yeah.
area, and that he's just kind of like so right now he's just kind of like okay, that's them, and he's gonna just try and work his way to them, even though he knows it's probably gonna take a while. So
Okay.
yeah.
Um,
So we can go. Yeah, you guys can go back to doing what you're doing.
the intimidation that you try to put on the guards are, hey, oh, I don't think you have 5 gold. Oh, actually, probably 5 silver. 5 gold's a lot of money.
Are you? Actually, none of my money carried over.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Me either.
Yeah, none of my money came.
Well, it sounds like you need to go back to the bank. You guys should be able to edit that on your sheets.
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah,
I
right?
did it.
Okay.
I think is it 10 gold that we start with?
It would depend on what you picked, because there
Yes.
are different.
So you can put your default gold that's showing up on D&D Beyond.
Is that okay? That is that number. Okay.
Did everybody get that added in?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Let me check. Mine is.
It's gonna be on your inventory page.
Yeah, it was 10. Okay.
Yeah, it was 10 gold.
Oh, okay.
Nerds, I got 11.
Wow.
Whoa. Big spender.
Big spender. Mom sent me away with 11 gold.
Let's see. Rob, I'll add that to your sheet. 10 gold.
Oh, I did it. Yeah, I already.
Oh, did you? Oh, look
Yep.
you go.
You think I'm
Everyone can roll. We're gonna do this. Everyone roll a d4. Evens are gold pieces. Odds are silver pieces.
Oh no.
Oh shoot. My.
So was that 3 silver pieces?
Nope. This is what we're gonna do. Oh my god. You all got silver. So now everyone can roll a d20. Multiply it by 10. That's how many silver you get.
Wow.
Forget how do you change it? Oh, okay.
190 silver. All right.
Just as like regular day-to-day work, contracts, things of that nature. Just spending money a little bit extra to pad your pouch, your coin purse.
Dang, I've been delivering a lot of books.
Oh yeah.
Making some cash. Usually make about 10 silver per delivery. It's a pretty decent gig. Like, the job is like, it's not like a day's time. Like, it's usually the day of, like, hey, we need this, and you go and grab it for them that same day. So, like, they pay a little bit more money for Neverwinter Express.
And I bet he probably knows the city pretty well by now because that's what he's been doing.
Oh yeah,
Freaking
Oh,
local, local pretty much.
it's essentially you've definitely adjusted the city very easily.
Sweet.
But yeah, the guard's like, you better hand over 5 silver. I'll open the gate for y'all everyone through. I gotta eat and drink.
So I'm just gonna kind of like sigh a little bit and he's gonna reach into his pouch.
Wait, hold on. You're really gonna pay? Really gonna make us pay 5 silver to go through this gate?
Nothing in life is free, little man.
All right.
It's just like sit there like froze, like one hand in his like money pouch, just like.
I mean, I guess it's fair.
Yeah, what is your name, sir?
My name is Ted.
Well, Tim.
Ted, the third born of the second man in the family tree.
While he's kind of talking and looking like you are right now, I'm gonna try to sneak around on the side where his bad eye is.
Ooh,
Well-
okay.
Just walk right through. Not really sneak, but just kind of push through.
Okay. Make a stealth check.
Well, Ted the third born.
DC's 10.
Let's go.
I look forward to handing your name off to the Lord's Alliance. So you should be getting a probably a visit.
Promotion?
No, definitely
Right.
maybe a promotion to unemployed.
What?
Yes, we will let them know, and I'll hand over 5 silver.
Well, thank you. I guess. Puts it in his pouch.
It's probably the last silver you get for a while, so enjoy it.
And he looks up and goes, Kimberly! Open the gate! We drinking tonight! And then he just steps off to the side as the gate begins to just rise up. Clink, 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 clink.
Kind of like standing back up straight, throws in a small grunt as he moves between the guard and the group of people. Was there a guard on the other side of, like, off to the other side of the gate?
As he moves to the side, you see that Adon has like done one of those like spy movie like side rolls underneath the gate as it's coming up, and you don't see anyone on the outside, just Adon at this point as the gate's coming up. He's already on the other side.
No, I don't mean like outside. I mean like, is it a case of like this is a castle? Like you're looking at the front gate of a castle. There's a guard on each side.
Oh, like this?
Like yeah, like literally one on each side.
No, this is the only dude at this
Just
gate.
the only one. Okay.
Yeah, and you would know that like they typically try to run this like the city guard. Usually, like sometimes they get like kind of ballsy. They'll try to run this They'll try to pinch some coins out of people just trying to like leave the city. Um, but usually they're not even like really manned, just on the tops of the walls,
Mhm.
just to kind of keep an eye out. But this guy just seemed that he had nothing better to do than to bother you guys trying to exit the city.
Kind of as like we weave through and Thread sees a den on the other side of the gate already. He's gonna like do like a quick like 180 jump. He's gonna jump back around. Huh? Augustus, does he do that a lot? Something he normally does.
He can be a bit impatient, I suppose.
Was I able to notice him walking around with my possible passive perception of 11?
Adon.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're low enough where like you're kind of like at that level too.
Yeah, so
He
like
seems
while
like
I'm
kind of take off.
yeah, like while I'm writing down Ted's information, I just kind of like look up like out of the corner while I'm still writing. And just don't say anything. Cuz it's probably something I would do, honestly.
Tim, real quick.
Yes.
I have an ability that allows me to do something equal to your proficiency bonus. What does that mean?
Yes.
Like
You're
like the number, like the plus X.
so proficiency. If you look at the main character page, the tab,
Yeah.
underneath your round token, it says prof +2. That's your proficiency bonus.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
That like goes up every few levels for all of us.
Okay.
It's
All
As
right.
you get more skilled in your
Okay.
proficiencies.
So I assume I see them like starting to go through the gate.
Yeah, you can see the crowd starting to kind of filter through. It's
Oh,
probably
the whole-
grown to be about 30.
Oh, everybody's gonna be able to. They're not just letting through the.
No, he just took the money. He was. It seems like
Wow.
being on the other side and kind of observing this and listening to the conversation that was going on. Like, the guard you can kind of see is just kind of like excitedly. We're drinking tonight, Kimberly. It's just like doesn't really give a shit because it's not really his job to protect the gate. He's pinched some coins.
All right, so it's just open. All right, cool. So it's starting to move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So can he? I don't know what the best. He's now it's opened up more, so he's just gonna try and get there faster, I guess.
Okay. You
Try
kind
to
of
slink through.
Yeah, you're kind of slender enough and like able to kind of move your way through this crowd and eventually get to the point where you see a small person, maybe about 50 feet in front of you, kind of heading with the group of people you encountered outside the library.
Okay. Yeah. So he's just making his way. He's just trying not to lose them.
Okay. You're just gonna tail him at this point.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't go very fast with all the people moving, but
True.
he knows where they are and he's gaining slowly.
Yeah. So Thrud, you're just gonna now just guide them to where you were told the encampment was, essentially.
Yeah, I'm gonna like remembering kind of lay of the land from his time before the Lord's Alliance. Thread's gonna like, okay, if we go this way, we can get there quicker, and kind of like lead him through again.
Okay. You guys take about let's see, 30 minutes to make your way to the edge of the Neverwinter Wood. As you approach the camp and Shriek, you can tell that some of the citizens have kind of lost interest, not realizing how far out this camp was. I think some of them assumed it was going to be right outside the city gates, but there's kind of like this, it's almost like rolling hills. It's like a prairie of sorts before you see the Neverwinter Wood. That's maybe about like a half a mile out from the like northeast of the city. So like
Wait,
you're at this. You guys are just
I pull out the thing. I pull out the thing, the slip of paper. Does it say? Is that what this is?
You connect the two that perhaps yes, this is what those folk who are walking and where this group of interesting companions are heading towards.
Okay, all right. He goes, okay, all right.
Are you just going to continue heading forward, Thread?
Oh, thread.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, unless anybody else like gets distracted by anything, yeah, Thread's just gonna kind of we're through the first obstacle. Let's just beeline it there before it gets dark.
Okay. You've noticed that the clouds are starting to roll in. It's kind of that thicker, darker, more overcast type clouds are rolling in from the sea.
Mhm.
So it's you can tell, Shriek. You look up to the sky and you're like, it's gonna get darker earlier tonight.
Panic.
Um,
Panic. He needs to get to them.
uh, just being kind of like an urchin of the city, you're kind of like, oh, here it comes.
Oh
It's
shit.
kind of like a little bit of like Seattle, where like it's always overcast and it rains often. Neverwinter has that vibe, but it is spring, so it's a little bit chilly, but not unbearable.
Yo, I just straight up belched and I thought my mic was off for the stream.
Amazing.
So just everybody watching, just
I didn't even get to hear it. What the hell, man?
well,
As the evening continues to grow dimmer and darker, you see as you approach this camp, there's about a dozen men and women that are gathered around this crackling bonfire. It's pretty decent sized. Let me pull this up to kind of give you a little bit of an. I'm gonna put you here. I'm gonna put Shriek over here.
yo, can we
In
just
the corner.
can we just appreciate the notebook though?
I like it. It's pretty slick.
I got a little dragon eye down there.
Oh, that's cool.
Little dragon book.
So
I told you, homies, we ready.
Yeah, that's
there we go.
Whoa. Yo, that is interactive map.
So,
the heck?
Shriek, I put you on the bottom corner because you're kind of tailing them at this point, maybe like 30, 40 feet away. There's a few
Okay.
other people who have continued with this group. Let me do that. There you go. Now you can move your character pogs around. You can see there's different wagons kind of hitched to horses that are kind of grazing at this point. And then the dozen men and women are gathered around this crackling bonfire. You can tell the folk are in good spirits. A few of them sing and dance around the fire, while others find happiness in their flasks and wineskins. You can see that there's behind them, kind of butted up against some of the bigger trees, are three barrel-topped wagons. They're parked at this point, kind of like in strange, kind of like mismatch angles. And besides the horses that are hooked up to the wagons now, there's about 3 or 4 more that are hooked up to some of the trees that are probably used to move the bigger wagons. I would say, Adon, make a perception check as you approach.
Boy, yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
Being one who likes fixing things and working on things, you can see that one of the wagons is kind of tilted to the side, and there's like a wheel that's popped off.
Which one is it?
You want me to on the map?
Yeah, yeah.
I can't even
this one.
see, dude.
It's very dark.
Oh, that
The
was
only thing that I see is the bonfire.
Yeah, because I don't
Really?
think we have.
I can see
light
good. I have dark
or-
vision. So I
Oh,
think
that's
it's-
why.
yeah.
Well, I believe I also have dark vision. Let me double check.
I think Shriek is caught up by now.
Okay.
You just want the book.
You know what? I lied. I do not have dark vision, so that would explain it.
Yeah.
What does it look like on your end? I'm curious.
You
Pull-
can see like the bonfire.
Pull up the stream.
And
Oh, whoa.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, click on your pog. Click on your puck.
Oh,
So
there
the
we
finger-
go.
Oh, actually, yeah, you're right.
That's better.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
you
I
have to
see. But you,
activate.
you toggle it on and off if you click on your token more than once.
You can see now that the tokens have a red designator or a yellow arrow. If
Yeah.
you hold shift and rotate, that will be the way you're facing. This is going to be important in combat situations for flanking, in situations like that. So, like if you're butted up against somebody and you're both attacking somebody, you can get flanking. But if like the one on the right is looking away, you're not going to get flanking attacking from that side.
How do we
So
do the rotate thing?
if you hold shift and then mouse scroll on your pog,
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know how we did that before, so now I've learned.
Prayer
Yep.
keys too.
so that's just a little addition to this campaign to help kind of make you guys think a little bit outside of the box when it comes to combat situations and kind of planning. Yeah, so you kind of approach and you see there's just a motley crew. There's a man who's he's got like very thin white hair and is really recessed. And at this point, Shriek, you're kind of like standing next to this group. Are you going to like try to harass them for the
Oh
book,
yeah.
or are you just kind
Oh
of?
yeah. He just runs up. Ding 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 ding, and he finally runs it. He's very winded. He's not very good at running for a very long time. So he just starts like patting everybody down and like looking to see if he can find the book.
S-
I guess randomly. He selects randomly.
Uh,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna roll a d6. He starts with Thrud.
Okay, I'll let you do the interaction of how you come up to throw it first.
He just comes up from behind and just starts patting you down. And when he realizes, I guess, that you don't really have much that you could hide a book in, he just goes on to the next.
Kind of like feeling something like tapping him, assuming it's Henry. Thread's gonna turn in the direction he last saw Henry. Henry, were you just patting me down?
no, I didn't. No, I'm just walking along.
Ding ding, ding ding.
Whoa,
Very distressed.
very just.
I go next. All right, that's Henry next.
Whoa. Well, I feel the padding you were talking about. And I'll look over and I'll see Shriek, and I'll be I have your book, and I'll pull it out of my bag. I have a small bag with me. I'll pick this up when we were around. You
He just
dropped it.
grabs it out of your hand as soon as you pull it out, and he just breathes deeply and just sighs, like whew, like he knows he ain't gonna lose his job now.
Sorry,
And that's it.
sorry about that. Do you have a name? Is
So
any?
he just kind of like looks at you like you're talking to me.
Yeah, yes. Well, yeah. Do you have a name?
He just kind of like taps on the book.
You did you write that book?
No, he's uninterested at this point. So he kind of realizes that he's not gonna be getting home tonight. So he just kind of starts looking around at whatever's going on,
Okay.
like at the fire and seeing where he is exactly. He was just kind of very focused on just getting to the book, and now he's realizing that he's gonna have to figure out what he's gonna be doing for the night.
Okay.
Can
Yes.
can I tell if he's in distress?
You can make an insight check.
Okay. Nice. -1. Let's go.
He's a hard read. No pun intended.
All right. Well,
Limited facial emotions, essentially.
I don't know if you want to hang around. We've got some business to attend to, so if you need anything, let us know. But we'll be on our way.
Yeah, again, he just kind of realizes where he is, and he doesn't really like being spotted out. Like he's used to kind of hiding in crowds and stuff like that. So he just, yeah, he just kind of like stands behind the group, a little back, kind of where he is. Hold on. Say like probably about right here.
Okay.
And just kind of like.
There is an older man who kind of approaches. He's so skinny it looks sickly. He's got this long kind of just little goatee, and it's all white. He's got this almost velvety like vestment on, and he's got big hoop golden earrings, and just like the slicked back, really thin white hair. And he just has this big smile on his face, and he kind of shuffles over, and he's just like rubbing his hands like this. Like, welcome, I'm Stanimir. Welcome to the camp. Are you here for the festivities?
Salutations, Antamir. We are sent to assist with your carts or your wagons
Ah,
from the
yes.
Artificer Guild, some of us, and then members of the Lord's Alliance there.
So you are not here by the request we put out to the city?
Oh, Shriek pulls out the ticket
Yes.
and waves it in the air.
We have one taker. Perhaps you could join us while you work on the wagon wheel that's broken?
What sort of invitation is this?
I have an idea. We are not leaving tonight. Perhaps you can just take a seat around the bonfire. And he kind of like turns around and points back. And it's a really nice fire, and there's some folks, and like I said, they're dancing and kind of singing, and it's very, very jolly circumstance. Like they're just seem to be happy to be alive. And they're all kind of dressed similar. Like they've got like these like almost like silken robes and clothing and sashes, and they've got different kinds of jewelry on. Like they're very bougie, to say the least. But Stanimir kind of just is still kind of like rubbing his hands together, and he's like, "We can get to the wagon wheel after you hear our story. Perhaps you have 5-10 minutes to sit down and take a break after your journey out here from the city."
I got a new idea. How about I start working and then you can tell your stories and we'll be on our way and you'll be on yours.
Really?
That's what we got sent out here for. That's what we'll do.
Any other takers of the group here? You can work on the wheel if you want. I can. If you're not interested in a really cool story, then so be it.
Question for you, Tim.
Yes.
My danger sense. Is that something that needs to be activated?
I think it's like a passive ability.
I don't know, because it's on my class features under my action, and there's a thing I can activate, but it says for 0 rounds, so I don't
Oh,
know.
so basically it's something that you have always up. It's always going on. The only time it's not active is if you're blinded.
Deafened or pretty much knocked out or something like that.
Exactly. Like you just have almost think of it as like kind of like a spider sense of sorts.
Okay.
You're it's a strange situation, but you don't get any immediate danger. You don't sense that.
Kind of like as Stanimir is engaged, like talking to Augustus, Throat's gonna just like lean down next to Henry, and he's gonna, Henry, keep your guard up. Things don't feel dangerous currently, but who knows what's going to happen outside of here. I'm going to try to help Dawn get this bloody tire on so we can get these fools out of here. He's gonna kind of like stand up and he's gonna, seeing where Adon had kind of boogied off to, Frod's gonna start making his way that direction.
Well, and I suppose, Mr. Standomir, that wouldn't hurt for us to listen in. I'll just have my little servant here helping Adon. We weren't really given any sort of timeline, so we're not in a rush necessarily. And I'll take out a little jar with like, which looks like just some blue liquid, and it kind of hold it upside down, and it plops out like jello on the ground, and then it forms into a tiny little, almost humanoid little creature, and then just scurries off after Adon.
Oh God. Okay. You guys kind of see this strange,
It's it's a tiny size, so it's probably like the size of someone's hand almost.
yeah, it's odd. It's got like a little tiny pair of wings and just darts off.
Yep.
I'll just nod at Thrud and I'll follow Adon, but I'll keep a good distance, or a close distance between me and the others. Just kind of stand in a defensive position.
Okay.
Just kind of standing resolute.
So you're gonna be working on the tire. Thrud, are you just gonna like hang out near Adon, or are you gonna try to help him with the tire?
I'm gonna attempt to help him.
Wheel. Okay. Henry, are you right next to them, or are you just kind of like in between? Because right now I would assume Shriek and Augustus are probably hanging out by the fire at this point, maybe.
Oh yeah, we're just kind of chilling.
Yeah, yeah. I'll kind of stay roughly about here, just keeping an eye and listening to everything.
Okay.
And would I know what a Kenku is? Like, the name of the race at least?
Oh yeah. There's like there. It's how can I describe it? They're rare, but not rare to the point where you're like what the fuck is that?
Okay.
Like you haven't met a lot of them. You've heard of a Kenku artificer kind of working down in Boulder's Gate for the guild down there, but
Okay.
you haven't really had close interactions with them. But yeah, you would know the race and stuff.
Yeah, sounds good. Excuse me, young Kenku. Might I see this invitation?
He's just looking at the fire, and people don't usually talk to him, so he just kind of assumes that nobody's talking to him.
I'll just kind of lean in, like try to like get in front of his vision so he sees that I'm looking at him. And excuse me, the invitation.
Bing, and then he's just kind of like frightened, and then looks at you.
I was just wondering what sort of thing that this letter was about.
Letter. Oh, he realizes that there's the letter, and he pulls it out of the fold of his robe, and he just kind of like holds it up, like, here you go.
You're looking at this little slip of parchment, and it's like very nice handwriting. It's written in common, and it's an invitation to come have your fortune told and hear a story about a very, very important warrior, and that they should be coming tonight after the sun has set.
Interesting. Not necessarily my sort of thing, but I haven't ever had my fortune told. You seem a bit frightened there, young Kenku. Assuming you are from the city there, we can take care to escort you back when we're done with this business here, if you are not with them.
He just looks at him and then just kind of like looks back at the fire.
Okay.
Like a little shake, just kind of like,
Yeah.
okay.
I'll overhearing the conversation, I'll kind of arms crossed in front of me. I'll just lean over or tilt my head over my shoulder and say, "They're a load of hogwash. These fortune tellers. It's a waste of time."
I guess we'll see. And then the little slime jello creature as well. I'm just gonna be like casting mending through it with like that ability that JD and I were looking at. Like, you can cast a spell through it. Yeah, so he's just gonna be patching up tiny little cracks and stuff on the wagon
Okay.
in the distance there. But other than that, could be waiting around.
The music picks up. There's like accordions. There's people laughing, cheering, and they don't really pay you guys much mind as you're going to work on the wagon. Stanimir kind of like turns away from you guys and sits really, really close by the bonfire and kind of pulls his hands up like this. And this big kind of burning bonfire turns into this sickly color green that puts this green color that kind of reflects on everything around you.
Oh,
There we go.
that's cool.
And we'll take, at this point, we'll take our, we'll do 15 minutes. We'll come back at 8:15, so 14 minutes. And then we'll continue the campaign, the session.
Alright.
Sounds good. We'll take a 15-minute intermission now. We'll be back soon.
Oh man, welcome back. I got a dumpling stuck in my chest. So, Stanimir welcomes you, the folks who are interested, to the fire. Some of the other folks kind of rustle around. There's a woman who's older in age, not quite as old as Stanimir, but who seems up there, maybe like late 50s. She sits cross-legged right next to you, Shriek. Really kind of cozies up, maybe like maybe nothing, not more than a foot away from you, and she just keeps looking at your amulet, and she smiles, and she's
Oh,
kind
that's
of looks
tucked
to the
away.
fire.
Yeah, that's not open.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
She still likes you.
oh.
She's still.
fine.
She's just kind of checking you out.
I just kind of like
Um.
scoot over a little bit farther.
Farther away from her.
No, no, no,
Um.
no. Get down. You get down from me.
Stanimir is kind of sitting at the fire. He like slams this glass of wine, and then he spits into the fire, and it makes it even more green. As the flames dance and they sway, a dark shape appears within the bonfire. We come from a land ancient, whose name is long forgotten. A land of kings. Our enemies forced us from our homes, and now we wander the lost roads. Let me turn down my Sirenscape a little bit. This accordion guy's going really hard.
He's going ham.
The dark shape that's within the fire takes the form of a man being knocked from his horse, a spear piercing his side. Stanimir continues. On one night, a wounded soldier staggered into our camp and collapsed. We nursed his terrible injury and quenched his thirst with wine. He survived. When we asked him who he was, he wouldn't say. All he wanted was to return home. But we were deep in the land of his enemies. We took him as one of our own and followed him back towards his homeland. His enemies hunted him. They said he was a prince, yet we didn't give him up, even when their assassins fell upon us like wolves. Deep in the bonfire, you can see the dark figure is now standing with a sword drawn, fighting off a host of shadowy shapes. This man of royal blood fought to protect us as we protected him. We bore him safely to his home, and he thanked us. He said, I owe you my life. Stay as long as you wish. Leave when you choose, and know that you will always be safe here. The figure dancing in the fire vanquishes his final foe, then disperses into a cloud of smoke and embers. Stanimir's face becomes a somber mask. A curse has befallen our noble prince, turning him into a tyrant. We alone have the power to leave his domain. We've traveled far and wide to find heroes. Perhaps you are the heroes we seek. We need to end our Dreadlord's curse and put his troubled soul to rest. Our leader, Madame Eva, knows all. Perhaps you stumbled upon my path for a reason. Would you be willing to return to Barovia with us and speak with her? The fire kind of calms down and goes back to like a regular orangish red vibe. He's just kind of looking at you two, Shriek and Augustus, with like kind of like these like piercing green eyes.
Have I heard of a place called Barovia?
No.
I'll kind of like.
I won't even give you a roll for it because it's not something anyone's heard of.
I'll glance over at Shriek and then look back and be like, I don't believe I know of a place called Barovia. Um, are you saying that this story of yours is less of a story and more of history?
Why, yes. This is real. It's a great story, but it is very real.
I am not very knowledgeable on curses, per se. You are thinking that this is something for the Artificer Guild, or?
I know a hero when I see one. You seem well equipped. You're kitted out with some weaponry. I can already tell you're ready for a battle. He kind of rotates his hand a bit, and you see the fire kind of crackle a bit. I need. Let's see. Okay. Everyone to make a wisdom saving throw.
And before I forget, I have Vedelkin Dispassion, so I get advantage on that.
Nice. Adon is like sunken in his work. He doesn't give a fuck what's going on. Okay. Augustus, you kind of see through his gestures and his like charismatic personality, and Adon, you're just so consumed with repairing this wagon that it doesn't affect you. Everyone else, you feel this sense of friendliness from Stanimir. Like, you know what? Like, he kind of sounds like he's genuine, and you kind of feel as if he's a friend and he wouldn't lead you astray, and perhaps he's starting to make some sense. And even you, Henry, like after Thrud kind of warned you about it, you kind of look over at Thrud for some guidance, and even he's kind of like doing like probably seeming to be more interested in Stanimir's kind of conversation at this point. So essentially you guys are charmed, except for Augustus and Adan. So you would kind of treat them as if they're a friendly acquaintance, and you kind of would lean more towards into like what they're trying to get you to kind of agree with. You're more agreeable with them, essentially.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you tell us more about Barovia?
Why, yes. It's a land hidden in the woods. It's got its bright spots. But I will tell you, it needs help. It needs to be saved. I mean, look at you. You look as though you're ready to go to war, young man.
Well, I do.
What better place to test your mettle than help us save our cursed lord?
Well, we do work for the Lord's Alliance, at least some of us. And I'm going to be honest with you, I could go for a little bit of action. Captain Thrud, what do you think?
Well, out of curiosity, since Thrud has been trying to help Adan with this, has Thrud, like, picked the cart up for him to work on it? Like, how exactly is Thrud helping here, since we kind of, like...
You tell me. How are you helping?
Can Thrud attempt to pick said cart up to hold it for him?
Like the carjack?
Yeah, Thrud is your carjack.
You go to, like, being charmed, you kind of, like, feel your gaze kind of turn towards Stanimir. And when you look back, the wagon is perfectly fine. And you can see that Adan is now tinkering with nothing. Like he's on the ground working on just seconds prior there was a wheel on the ground he was working on, and then when your gaze returned, you noticed that the wagon was no longer in need of repair. And a Dan you don't even recognize. It takes you a moment to kind of realize that, like, it's almost like you blanked there for a moment, and suddenly, like, now the wagon's fine.
Kind of like just like saying that and shrugging a little bit. Thrud kind of moves over a little bit. And he's like in between Dan and Henry at this point. Well, I mean, to answer your question, Henry, we were told to kind of get them out of here no matter what it took, so I guess that means if it gets them to leave, we can go with them. I don't think that's breaking any sort of rules we were given.
Stanimir kind of hears you saying that, and he kind of leans over the fire and goes, "It's not really that far."
And I suppose that a quick detour is probably fine. I mean, is this prince of yours sick in any way? I could possibly help with that. I don't know. The curse is...
I would say he does need some help.
Oh, very well then. The Artificer Guild is generally open to helping people, especially myself.
There's definitely compensation to be had. If you such agree to accompany us back to Barovia, we will lead you to Madame Eva, where she will explain more details of what we need to do to save our noble prince.
Well, I mean, I don't see any point in not after all.
It's
Henry, what?
kind of sounds like a done deal to me.
Well, again, Henry, we were tasked with getting these people to leave, and this seems like the easiest way to do it. That Thread's gonna kind of like look to Augustus and Adon. Would you two be interested in accompanying us and giving us a hand for whatever may lie ahead? I'm sure if we return, I can inform the Lord's Alliance of your assistance, and you can be compensated in some sort of capacity.
I think that would be fine. I do not have much on my schedule, but how is the cart looking there, Adon?
Well, I know I'm good, but I don't remember ever being this good. I think it's fixed. It looks good to me.
Oh, well, then I guess Adon and I are theoretically on free time anyway, so if you are up for joining them, Adon, I see what sort of help we could bring.
Stanimir just kind of like looks at you all and is like, well, let's drink. Perhaps we can stay up late telling those stories. Perhaps read a fortune or two. What about you, Kenku? What do you say?
Shriek turns over to
Interested in an
Augustus.
adventure?
Yeah, Shriek turns to Augustus and reaches out his hand and says, "You can take this with you, boy."
Hey, are you holding out your hand?
Yep.
Just empty hand?
Yep, empty-handed,
I'm
like
sorry,
he's
did you
wanting
say-
you to take his hand.
Did you just?
You can take this with you, boy.
Did you just say that? Like, were
Yeah.
those words that came out of your face?
Yeah, he opens his mouth and says that.
Oh, all right. And I'll shake your hand tentatively.
He grabs your hand and realizes that he's never seen a hand with 6 fingers before. That's friggin' weird. Yeah, he looks down and then looks back up and then just kind of like lets go.
How do you spell Barovia?
Barovia.
No, just
Oh, I was so close.
Would he know how to spell Barovia?
No.
I mean,
I guess you guess.
Hi guys, Barovia.
Just spell it phonetically.
yeah. So the cart's fixed, or the wagon's fixed. I would say, Dan, if you're curious as to what happened, you can make an insight check.
Yeah, it definitely would be kind of
Kind of like
appearing to be
scratching your
fixed.
head.
Oh,
Jeez.
Wow.
that's 2 in a row, baby.
Holy
Whoa.
crap.
Ooh, natty
Oh,
20s.
he took him. He took him.
Dirty natty 20s. Yep.
It's weird that I feel like typically the DM rolls insights because then that would like bias you. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if you're like, I feel like this guy is lying to me. Can I roll an insight to see if he's lying to me? And you rolled poorly, and the DM says, no, he's telling you the truth. You're like, well, I rolled poorly, so I think he's telling me the truth, so he's probably lying.
I think generally, if you roll poorly, it ends up being like, oh, you're not really sure, kind of thing.
Okay. So, you see kind of a Dan kind of finish up his work, kind of dust his hands off.
Would we be? You said it's a short distance. Are we going to be heading out before it gets too dark?
It's all right. You look up and it's already like the clouds have rolled in. They're thick, dark clouds, and the sun's basically set at this point. So it's like properly nighttime, essentially. Let's see here. Stanimir just kind of points out. He's like, "You are more than welcome to stay here with us. We have usually somebody stay awake throughout the night to ensure we don't get jumped by any wolves or anything."
Well, I'm not much of a camper, but I guess it is a bit of a walk back to the city. Would we be going in the morning?
That was going to be my next question as well.
What's your next question?
If we were leaving tonight or in the morning. That was going to be my next question. I'm saying it out loud.
You guys gonna do anything, or just kind of enjoy the spirits, or head to sleep at this point?
I'll probably keep watch for a little bit. Make sure everyone's safe.
Oh.
If everybody wants to rest.
Adon will kind of try to pull Augustus aside. Why are you going along with this? Don't we have things to do back at the guild?
Well, I have things to work on, yes, but I believe it is sort of our job to make sure that these individuals are getting out of the city area. And the man did say it would be a short while and that we might be able to help. Possibly I would be able to help medically, so...
And you believe him?
Well, I am curious, really.
You've
don't-
seen me work. You've seen the stuff I can do. I mean, it's pretty good, right?
Sure, yes.
Well, I don't think I really fixed that cot. I think it. I don't really know, but I think it was an illusion. I don't think it was real. I don't think it was really broken.
You think the cart itself is fake, or that the
No, just
broken?
the broken pot. Yes, I think. I can't quite put my finger on it, but yes, it seems like. I mean, you saw what he did to the campfire. He could have done that to the cot as well.
Well, it is possible. We don't really know much about these people. There are a lot of rumors about them in the city, but
I just don't think we should sleep. We should one of us should stay up tonight. It doesn't feel safe.
well, perhaps we could If you wanted to, we could head back to the guild and then come back in the morning to rendezvous and possibly head out from there or see what they're like in the morning.
Well, I wasn't paying much attention, but I think we were supposed to get them to leave tonight, yeah?
I think it was as soon as we're able to, yes. I am not sure how safe it is traveling in the night around here. Actually, and I'll step away for a second and go bring Thrud over.
Kind of follow him over, yes, Gustus.
How do you feel about these individuals here? Don is alluding that they may be performing a bit of trickery here of some sort. Possibly trying to, I don't know, sort of trap us here or bring us here with a false job.
That cartwheel, I don't think it was really broken. It just, one second I was working on it, it was all apart in 7, 8, 7, 9, 10, 4 pieces. I don't know, something, and then next thing I knew, it was a cart. It's just a cart, just one piece in a cart.
Thrud's gonna kind of like listening to you guys at first. He's like looking at you, and then he's gonna turn to look across like just the whole layout of this little encampment thing these people have before turning back to both of you. Well, I personally I don't know much in the ways of magic. As far as I can tell, you could make a rabbit appear out of a hat, and I would call you the greatest magician on the face of Earth. But here we are. I don't seem to sense any sort of danger from these folks. Call it a bit of an intuition I have, but they seem rather... I don't know if trustworthy would be the word I say, but I don't feel like they're putting us in any danger. And after all, me and Henry were both ordered to get them to leave as soon as possible, so I'd rather begrudgingly kind of see this through, even though they do seem rather mischievous with folks who are not the realm.
Do you think that it would be safe enough to travel in the night?
Well, I mean, around these parts, you have no better guide than yours truly. After all, I rather grew up in these areas, so I know them almost as well as I say I would know Neverwinter for the time being. I do think a bit of rest would probably do us all a little bit of good before we head out. Who knows how long they've been out here and how long they've been drinking.
I guess that is fair. I was going to suggest that maybe we could see if we could convince Stanimir if he would be open to leave now and just finish this business before the night is in too deep, and then that would be it. You're right that they may not be in a current state to be doing much traveling.
How many total carts are there that these people have?
So there's 3 smaller carts pulled by like 1 horse each, and there's 2 bigger carts, 2 bigger wagons, I should say.
So like 5 total.
Yeah. Yep.
That's gonna like kind of cross his arms, and he's gonna survey the area. Well, if we're worried about leaving tonight, I trust you to have led your fair share of wagons before, or at least driven your fair share of wagons.
A reasonable amount, I suppose.
For me, a few smaller ones. Just our carts selling things, but we don't know. Maybe able to figure it out.
So he's gonna turn and he's gonna look over at Henry and he's gonna wave him over.
Excuse me. Yes, Captain.
Henry, I need your opinion on something.
All right.
Augustus and Adan think there may be a little bit of trickery afoot here, but I don't really feel anything dangerous coming from anyone here. Both of them want to leave tonight. I can lead us through the woods, at least for a distance until I'm in an area I'm not familiar with. I have a plan, but I need to know, have you ever drove a carriage before? Or a wagon at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was at 3. Tell me, Henry, have you seen anyone here in the camp that doesn't look like this, so inebriated that at the slightest little bit of breeze they're going to fall over?
That's a great question. Can I look around and see if I see anybody that's decently sober?
Yeah, make a perception check. It seems like they're drinking to enjoy themselves, not drinking to death, essentially. Like, you can tell people are buzzed, having a good time. You get the sense that they probably do this often, so they're probably used to holding their liquor.
All right. Yeah, it looks like everyone's just having fun. Doesn't look like everybody's really out of their minds, you know.
Have any of you figured out who the Birdman is, by any chance?
No, haven't. Seems to just kind of keep to himself. Doesn't speak very much.
Yeah, I did seem to have some sort of agreement with them. I'm not quite sure, but guess we'll wait and see. They are intelligent Kenkus generally, but I believe their speech can sometimes be limited in some ways. I'll go talk to Stanimir and see if he'll be open to traveling now.
Okay, Augustus, I appreciate it. If he seems to think no one is capable of driving, can I have you and Adon drive 2 separate cars? Henry, I'll have you take one. And then if we can figure out if our bird friend here can drive, I'd appreciate it if he could drive one, and then we only need one of the folk here to drive the last one.
I suppose you can ask him.
If I can ask, Captain, why do we need 5 carts? Are we trying to get everyone out tonight?
I'd prefer it that way. The Lord's Alliance did want them all gone, and I don't know about you, but I'd rather not go back and inform them we've only succeeded halfway through our mission.
Right. I was just double checking. I didn't want to miss anything.
No, you have every right to question. I'm sure there will be times that I come to you needing more of an input than I have for a current situation. It's good to have a set of eyes and ears that catch things I don't, and Throat's gonna give him like a quick nod and a smile.
Captain?
Question for you, Tim.
Yes.
Would Thrud
Yes.
being able to speak with animals, would that work on Kenku? Like, would Thrud, actually be able to have a full conversation with Kenku that only know mimicry? Or do they not count as,
They're not an animal.
they are not a beast? Okay, that's what I was curious about.
Also, fun fact, Kenku were cursed, and they don't actually have a language. So even with speak with animals, you wouldn't be able to speak with Kenku. That was something I learned through Critical Role. And that's something.
Yeah. I'm gonna go up to Stanimir. Excuse me. It seems that Adan, the other artificer, has managed to fix the wagon. So if you would be open to it, I would prefer if we could leave tonight and start this business now. We are not necessarily on a timeline, but we are, busy. Us artificers always working on things.
He just smiles at you, and he's like, stands up. Vistani, we are heading out. And suddenly the music stops, and everyone starts packing things up, and almost like this has been rehearsed before or been done many a time. And within the next 15 minutes, everything's packed up. Horses are attached to carts. There are Vistani already at the helms of each cart, ready to go, just waiting for Stanimir to give the A-OK to go. You guys are now just standing there by the bonfire, like, what?
Kind of like saying this, that's gonna just let a small whistle, like, that's impressive. Well, I guess I don't need any of you to drive. So it's gonna kind of look over at Shriek. Sir, like just trying to
yes.
get his attention.
He
No, I'm
turns
talking
to
to
you.
Shriek.
Oh, okay.
Since Thread doesn't know his name, he's just not sure what to call him. He's just like, sir.
Is he? I don't know. Is he paying attention? Are we like huddled up? Are we in like a circle? Like what's going on?
I would assume you guys are like the only folks that are like not in a wagon or on a horse or like on like a helm. You guys are just like the only ones left on the ground. Stanimir's kind of like sitting in one of like the cockpits of one of the wagons on one of the benches, just staring at you guys, just smiling.
Okay. So we are like kind of like engaging with each other. Like, is this something that would like?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are like the only ones that are like around. Like, if you're paying attention and like kind of like you could.
Strick is definitely not paying attention to anybody in particular. He's just kind of very fascinated that they did all that so quickly. Like, holy cow!
Kind of seeing that this man doesn't like respond to him because he's just so distracted. So it's gonna like walk over and not intending to scare him. He's just gonna like tap Shriek on the shoulder. Hello.
Okay, he turns over. He now has Shriek's attention.
So it's gonna like do like that weird, awkward, like little wave at him. I know you followed us from the city. Do you intend to come with us, or are you going back to Neverwater?
He reaches out his hand and says, "You can take this with you, boy."
I'm just gonna like look at him for a minute, like he's gonna reach out and he's gonna take his hand and like, just shake it like slowly, like.
Yeah. He shakes his head like yes, and shakes his hand and lets go, and then just kind of goes back to.
That's gonna give him a small thumbs up.
Stanimir just kind of claps once more, smiles, says, "What are you standing there for? Hop on the wagon." He kind of points in the bigger wagon he has. That's kind of it's got a covered top, like a fabric covered top, and it's exposed on both sides. Like behind him, you can see there's a couple folks that are sitting in the back there, but you can kind of see from this distance that there's plenty of room.
Exposed. I didn't give my consent.
Fred's gonna turn to Stanimir as he starts talking. Do you know the way to go from these woods to Barovia?
Trust me, we've done this many times. Won't be
And-
long.
I guess we
Alright,
just
then.
need to kill the fire.
You're extinguishing the fire.
Yeah, once everybody else mounts up, Thread's gonna put the fire out, and then he's gonna get into the wagon with the rest of them.
Okay. Is anyone not getting in the wagon? Or you guys just gonna pop in the back?
I am driving one of the wagons.
Yeah, you can go hop and sit next to somebody. There's like a younger woman who like kind of like looks at you and smiles, but she's got the reins of the horses, and she's like gives you one of these head nods.
I'll nod back and just keep quiet, keep to myself.
She blushes.
Ow, ow.
You can see now that the clouds in the sky have started to clear up. The moons are very bright, and you look up to the sky to see there's two moons. One that's probably about the similar size to our moon, and then one that's about half the size. And they're kind of close to each other in the sky, and they're both at a point where they're like full moons. So now it's casting this kind of like midnight light that's makes traveling easier. As Stanimir guides this caravan, basically, where are we going here? Where's my map? More north. So in the Neverwinter Wood, it kind of cuts northeast. Is where the road is. So they hop in and then they start kind of traveling forward and kind of cut to start heading northeast. You all kind of notice, like, kind of like riding in the back of the cart. You look out the back and you can see there's a fog rolling in. And it's like, as you travel, it seems like the fog kind of stays in place behind the carts as you move away. You continue for, I would say, around a couple hours. A little bit shortly after you guys have kind of started riding the wagons and then this caravan, the folks who are charmed kind of come out of the spell and kind of realize, oh, like you realize you've been charmed. Like you know that you've been charmed as part of the spell. You know, however you guys react to that is up to you. I'll give everyone a perception check at this point. You guys have nothing else better to do, unless Adon, you're tinkering, or Augustus, you're fiddling with something. But I would assume you guys are kind of just riding and watching.
Yeah, I think I would probably messing around. I think I would make my like daily experimental elixir at this point, just while we have sort of downtime seeming of traveling. So I probably won't be paying too much attention to the.
Okay.
But I'll roll for that just to see what I get.
A 2.
2. Good. Good to know.
Good to know.
Why'd you roll a d6?
That's for my experimental elixir thing.
Oh, Jesus. I thought that was your perception check. I was like, what is this man doing right now? He's breaking my brain.
No. Let's see which one I get for that.
Nice. Oh, that's cool. You guys, it's not really a high DC. You've noticed that the air here, as you kind of continue along this road after a few hours, has become stale. And it's a little bit chillier. It is nighttime, but you notice that some of the foliage in the trees have changed as you're moving through the fog. As you continue, the fog kind of starts to clear up a little bit. You continue and exit through this fog-ridden forest and come to the mouth of the forest. You guys can look out the back of the wagon. You can see is that the entrance to the forest is kind of gone now. And as you look forward, you see jutting from the impenetrable woods on both sides of the road are high stone buttresses looming gray in the fog. Huge iron gates hang on the stonework, and dew clings with the cold tenacity to the rusted bars. There's two headless statues of armed guardians that flank each side of this gate, and their heads now lying among the weeds at their feet. And they greet you with only silence. So this is kind of like what you guys approach, is this massive gate with this huge wall. And the gates close at this moment, and as Stanimir kind of leads this caravan closer, you see the gates go and like open on their own as they have to kind of maneuver the caravan around one of these stone heads that's a little bit bigger than one of the caravan wagons. Stanimir kind of turns back to the you folks that are in the wagon, the rider portion of the caravan, and are like, he just kind of like smiles, says, "Welcome to Barovia."
Kind of as he says this, like Thread's gonna stick his head like through the front of the caravan, like towards where Stanimir is sitting driving, and he's just gonna have this look of like pure bewilderment across his face before he turns to look at Stanimir and goes, "Okay, I know I'm not crazy. I've lived in these woods for years. This was never here. What is going on?"
Does anyone kind of respond to Thread's question?
Oh, I thought he was talking to Stanimir.
Yeah, I was talking to Stanimir.
Oh, okay. My apologies. He's like, "This isn't the woods that you're accustomed to. This is the land of Barovia. I told you where we'd be going."
Red is just looking at him with like this face of just pure like, I've wandered a good portion of these woods. How like just he is mind blown at this point. Like he knows these woods like the back of his hand and has never stumbled across this.
So as you're kind of riding along this road, as you pass through the gates, you can kind of feel the weight of the wagon shift from hitting like certain like potholes or holes in the road. It's a dirt road. It's a little bit of stone here and there, but you can see as you look out the back of the wagon, there's black pools of water that stand like dark mirrors, and there's more woods that kind of come in to surround the road past the gates, and their branches are like clawing at the mist. The branches themselves have this very, very strange nature to them, where you get an uneasy feeling that at any moment they could just reach out and grab you. But eventually the woods kind of open up to like a plains type area. And this is what really sets you on unease, Thrud, where this is like the grass, like you can tell that the grass is different. The mist is kind of, the mist and fog is kind of like relaxed a bit, but it's still like this eerie kind of clouded feeling to the land. And they just kind of continue on. Are you guys just going to kind of continue riding along without incident? Or
Freak is very visibly nervous.
Kind of as like Thrud feels that like somewhat like unease start to kick in, he's gonna climb from the back of the wagon up onto the portion that Stanimir is sitting on, and he's just gonna sit down next to him, but kind of like his right hand is just gonna be prepped like to reach for his great axe if he needs it?
Henry is nowhere near that other cart, so he is literally making small talk with the cute girl that's driving the cart.
Okay. She kind of talks to you about always being a part of the Vistani and how she loves being able to travel and leave Barovia from time to time to bring visitors for their lord. Um, After a few more minutes of travel along this road, you start to see a collection of small buildings. They look okay from a distance, but as you guys get closer and closer, you notice that there's something that's unnatural about them in terms of the decay. They look weathered. They look aged. There's tall shapes that loom out of the dense fog that surrounds everything, and the muddy ground underfoot kind of you can see as the wheels and the horses trot through, they give way to slick wet cobblestones. The tall shapes become recognizable as the village dwellings. The windows of each house stare out from the pools of blackness. um, no sound cuts the silence except for mournful sobbing that echoes through the streets from a distance. um, Stanimir kind of like looks back and he's like, "This is the village of Barovia. Nothing but sad souls here. We're going to continue on for about 30 more minutes, perhaps an hour, depending on as long as there's no issues with the road. And we will arrive at our encampment." And he's kind of continues traveling. And the town is very small. No more than a couple dozen houses. By the time that you come into the village, it seems as though you're exiting the village. And you've seen nobody on the streets. It's still dark out. It's still nighttime. That is something to note. But it's other than that kind of that sobbing you heard, it seemed like the village itself was just empty and desolate.
I'm gonna lean over to Adon and just be like, it is probably a good idea to keep a good eye out. It does seem this decay is a bit strange, and well, this may have been a bad situation to get into, but it might also be a learning experience.
Well, in my experience, learning means nothing if you're dead. I don't like this. I think we need to.
Are you suggesting that you've died before?
I think we need to maybe confront him. Confront him. Yes, that sounds good to me. Figure out what's really going on here. There's definitely more than he's telling us.
Something to write down, Rob, if you have a tableto or something, which I think
Absolute.
maybe I will send you some stuff here and there of good quotes that I think you would want to kind of keep in mind for conversation. Is I really liked learning means nothing if you're dead. So maybe that would be something you would kind of.
You've triggered my
Plant-
fight or flight response, and
Yeah.
I am a flightless bird.
I think that was a really good thing. Sorry to interrupt.
Hey, thank you.
I just want to make sure that you have some source material to pull from, which would be fun.
Hey, that's good material. Write that down. Write that down.
Straight up.
Can I? Because you said like, or Thread was saying that he like doesn't recognize like this area. He was saying that out loud, right?
Yeah.
Recognize.
So can I send up my homunculus? I'm just gonna tell him, number 4, can you please fly up as high as you can and just survey the area and tell me if you can see Neverwinter Step?
Yes, master, one moment. And he takes off and flies up. Let me see something. Okay.
Which I don't think he can talk, but he can understand what I was saying.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
too bad he spoke.
He just spoke.
It's canon now.
Yeah. Oh,
It's canon.
you've learned to speak.
Oh,
You say that as he flies away. You'll
He's-
never catch me alive.
he's sentient.
Yeah, number 4. Yeah, he just leaves. My gem. Straight up. He returns. What are you setting him up to kind of look into to kind of get a better visual, maybe?
Yeah, if we've ridden for a couple hours, like, would I know that it would still be like visible the city behind us or not?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Definitely.
So I want to send him up just to take a look there, and then I'll ask him more questions when he gets back. But that's what I want him to be looking at.
Okay, he returns and just kind of like shakes his head. Yeah.
That is what I was a bit worried about.
Kind of like shrugs his shoulders, his little tiny shoulder.
Yeah, very well. And I'll open up the jar and smush him back in the jar. Close it. No, it's fine. He likes it.
What?
I love it.
Likes it. It would seem that we have some sort of magic has displaced us in some way, I think. The city of Neverwinter should have been visible from here in the sky, and it would seem that it is no longer there. Or perhaps a better way to say it is that we are no longer there.
A laugh comes from. Oh yeah, go on.
No, I know you're good.
The laugh comes from like the rider's seat of this wagon, and Samir's turn. There's like, yes. There's no escape from Barovia, and Barovia won't be on a map. This is a different thing entirely. But Madame Eva will have more to discern out to you. Just trust me when I say this. Stay on the roads. And he kind of continues. What were you thinking of, Dan?
Within this cart that we're in, is there anything that is like seems to be magical? Like, is it does the power of what this guy's been doing seem to come from him or from an object?
What do you mean? What has he been doing? What do you mean?
Like the illusions he was doing at the campfire.
Um,
Can I see anything that looks
see.
suspicious?
I would say make an investigation check as you're kind of just looking around and kind of surveying the situation. It's not that there's something magical. You get the vibe that Stanimir has certain skills that allow him to do that, and so it seems like it's more coming from him, at least like the fire, the illusion, even the other members of the traveling party at this point being kind of more swayed. Seems like perhaps it's just part of his wile.
Captain Thrud, this does not seem to be a good situation. What do you think we should do?
Young Augustus Thrud is kind of like be resting his hand on the handle of his great axe. Honestly, Augustus, I'm not 100% sure. Somewhere none of us have been, and I don't really feel like getting out of here would be the best play for us. Sadly, I think we're kind of stuck until we find this Madame Eva.
as you're having this conversation, you hear the flapping of wings, and then in a moment, who would be sitting at like the back of the wagon? Would you guys say, as far as like sitting order, who would be closest to the exit point?
Probably, I'll probably Shriek. I think.
Shriek on one side. How about the other side of the seat?
Well,
I think I would be trying to keep an eye out towards the.
who all is on what cart? Because like,
Well, everyone's in the traveling the passenger car except for you, who decided to ride with.
cutie patootie up front, yeah.
Yeah.
Is he driving our cart? Like with
Stanimir
Girl
is.
and Stanimir?
He's on a different cart.
I'm on a
altogether.
different cart.
He's pulling like supplies.
I'm chillaxing, homie. I got a foot up on like the little bar.
Right.
I'm keeping an eye out. I'm having small talk with the honey up front. I guess.
I would say Adon, Shriek, and Henry make perception checks as you guys are kind of riding, and you can see now ahead of you. You guys are approaching a.
Yo, look at
a
that nat
bridge.
20!
What?
Adon quit it.
Damn.
So good.
I will say, before stream, he burned off like 3 natural ones.
Yeah,
so.
he rolled 3 natural ones in a row.
It was a 2 and then 3 ones.
Yeah.
So he paid the piper to the dice gods. Adon, surprisingly the only one who really picks this up, but you're so just to kind of give you a little sense of what's going on. Henry, you are sitting next to a woman who's operating one of the wagons.
Yeah.
Ahead of you is the main wagon, which Stanimir and the other party members are. You can see in the back, you see Shriek sitting on one side and Adon sitting on the other. That's where you're at.
Yeah.
You're kind of looking forward. Adon, you're looking out the back and shows Shriek, and you can see that Henry and some younger woman, kind of dressed in like very very fanciful clothing. He's right behind you, so like you guys are pretty close together. But Adon, you're the only one who notices this. On top of Henry's wagon. So if I'm sitting here, if I'm Henry, there is a bunch of cargo boxes and stuff that are behind us that are packed up high, like multiple crates. You see a figure appear, legs crossed and hand on like a glass of wine. He's got long flowing black hair and these very very piercing eyes, and he's just kind of head down low, just looking right at you, Adon, and he just takes a sip of this glass of wine, breathes it in, and this startles you, Henry, as this figure says, travelers, welcome to my domain. And Shriek, you would obviously hear this at this point.
He just he kind of fluffs, and you hear some flutter, and then he looks over.
Not the fluff.
Oh no!
Hit him
What
with
happened
the
to
fluff.
Fluffy?
Hit him with the
Hashtag
fluff.
justice for Fluffy. But yeah, there's this pale skin, red eyed, like very slender, handsome man that's sitting on top of one of the crates right above Henry's head, about 5 foot above you. And you hear that, Henry, and kind of get startled.
Instinctually, I'll hop up to my feet. I'll raise my small shield and I'll put my hand on my wakizashi. So I've got my shield covering my face, and I've got my hand on the hilt of my weapon, just facing him.
He just kind of looks down at you and turns into mist, and then reappears on top of Stanimir's wagon. And you, Shriek, and Adon can't see him at this point because he's on top of the cloth, but you can still hear him. He's like, best not to get cut. Pray tell me, did you come here for some fun?
I'm just gonna shout, Captain, we have guests.
Guests? It's only I here. And he kind of like raises his hands out like. And then he turns to mist again and comes back atop of where you are, and takes another drink out of this glass, and he just kind of has this charismatic smile, and he just kind of looks down at you, Henry. He's like, tell me, have you seen my beloved Irina? She lives within the village of Barovia. Did you see her passing through?
We've never been here before.
Well, I'll tell you this, little one. You'll never be anywhere else again. He takes a drink of his wine. I suppose perhaps I'll be seeing you. Perhaps if you impress me, I'll invite you for dinner. And he takes a drink and then flies, turns into a bat and flies away. The woman who you're sitting next to, Henry, make a what's your passive perception?
11.
I would say make a perception check then.
Got it. Jesus, Dookie with the rolls tonight.
You just notice she kind of pulls some fabric up over her neck a little bit.
Oh no. I'll say to her, like, do you know what that was?
She kind of like shyly turns away a bit. She's like, I do, but it is not my place to speak his name. The wagons continue to travel. You crest over this stone bridge. You can see there's a river that's about 50 feet wide that travels through the land here. It's clear. It's clear as blue, as like a blue winter sky through this valley. It's just this very, very faint white, very, very clear. And you're beginning to head into more of a wooded area once again. This road kind of snakes and twists and turns, and at some points you guys come to an area where the river is exposed again through the woods and the trees. And eventually you come to a point in this road. Stanimir kind of like turns back. He's like, best to get used to the strangeness that is Barovia. And I'll let you in on a little secret. This road we're traveling on is known as the Old Svalich Road. It's one of the main thoroughfares through Barovia. Like I said before, it's very important. I cannot express this more. Stay on the road in your travels.
Old what road?
Svalich. I'll write it in the chat.
I don't think I would have a chance of spelling that right. The Old Svalich Road.
Got it.
You guys approach like an intersection in this road where the path can go straight or cut left. They kind of hold up for a moment as a couple of Astani hop out of the wagons and kind of seems like they're just taking a quick break just to check on the horses, check on the wagon, just to make sure everything's tip-top shape for the travel. Like a really, really quick pit stop, not more than a few moments. And as you're sitting there, right to the left side of the road is an old wooden gallows that creaks in a chill wind that blows down from the high ground to the west. A frayed length of rope dances from its beam. The well-worn road splits here, and a signpost opposite of the gallows points in 3 directions. Barovia Village to the east, the Tesser Pool to the northwest, and Ravenloft / Valaki to the southwest. So you got the Barovia Village to the east, the Tesser Pool to the northwest, and Ravenloft / Valaki to the southwest. That's kind of what's written on this like really old. This signpost is like an exhausted old man propped his hand up against a wall trying to catch his breath. It's just ever so crooked, waiting for a strong enough gust of a wind to knock it over. And it's dark. These woods are consuming that you're in at this crossroads. It's this. The branches are gangly. There's the wood. The floor of the woods itself is almost bare for except for a few leaves and some like broken branches. The northwest fork slants down and disappears into the trees, while the southwest fork clings to an upward slope. Across from the gallows, a low wall crumbling in places partially encloses a small plot of graves shrouded in fog. You can see that the gallows that is there, kind of this, it's rotting. There's a platform that's about 5 feet high. There's wooden stairs that lead up to the gallows itself. You kind of look out to this desolate graveyard that kind of has this fog that's kind of moving across it like water. There's roughly about 11 gravestones. And you kind of try to look and kind of get any kind of information. These gravestones are old. They're nameless headstones. You just get the feeling that there's people who are buried there that are long forgotten.
I have a question, Tim.
Yes.
I have an ability to detect sentience within 300 feet. Can I use that and see roughly like how many people, like intelligent people, are within that distance?
All you can really gather is there's the folks that are in the wagons.
Okay, gotcha.
And the little homie in the blue bottle that we figured out are sentient.
All right.
Yeah, he's conscious. Stanimir kind of turns back. He's like, "Did we lose anybody? Or are we all still in the caravan?"
I'll shout up. Or wait, can I hear him?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll
it's
shout up.
very very quiet in this area. It's eerie.
I'll shout up. We're all good back here. Everyone all right up there?
As all right as can be in the situation.
Captain, did you clock any of that? I called and I didn't hear anything.
It's all right, Henry. I was rather distracted. I'm still a bit flabbergasted about the fact that there's a whole village here that shouldn't be here.
Stanimir just kind of says, "And you, Kenku, are you good?"
Good job.
Kind of gives you guys a head nod, turns around and goes, whoosh, and the horse and the wagon start to continue. As you guys pull away from this T crossing, and you can see, after looking at the signpost, that you guys are heading towards the Tesser Pool that goes more northwest, this road. But you hear a creaking noise behind you, coming from the gallows. Where there was nothing before, now hangs a lifeless gray body. The breeze passes through as the chill kind of dances across your guys' bodies as the hanged figure slowly begins to turn in the wind. And its dead eyes, as its neck is kind of cracked to the side, just like stare at you. Give me one moment.
Well, there goes Shriek.
Oh. Oh.
The fluffy bird. Fluffy board. Oh.
Oh man.
Anybody else already picking up on that vampire vibe?
The neck thing that he
Oh
said?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to listen in, but my stomach was killing me, so I had to go to the bathroom. So I'm like,
Oh,
what I can
no.
hear, I'm like trying to
Yeah.
decipher.
Not churning the dookie butter.
Dude, my stomach is just like killing me.
I can't bring him back.
I got. Oh, okay.
I got scared. I couldn't bring you back. I was like, what the heck? Oh, dude, I hate when the camera does that. See what I did to you, Rob?
Correct.
You guys kind of continue for what doesn't seem more than 10, 15 minutes. The road gradually disappears and is replaced by a twisted, muddy path through the trees. Deep ruts in the earth are evidence of the comings and goings of these wagons. The canopy of mist and branches suddenly gives way to the black clouds boiling far above. There is a clearing here next to a river that widens to form a small lake that's several hundred feet across. 5 colorful round tents, each 10 foot in diameter, are pitched outside a ring of 4 barrel topped wagons. A much larger tent stands near the shore of the lake, its staggering form lit from within. Near this tent, 8 unbridled horses drink from the river. The mournful strains of an accordion clash with the singing of several brightly clad figures around a bonfire. A footpath continues beyond this encampment that meanders north between the river and the forest's edge. Stanimir kind of looks back. He's like, "Ah, it's good to be home." Let's see, where are we at? There we go. Let me pull up the right music for this. The right soundboard. The web player is cool, but it's slow to load.
Straight up dookie butter,
Okay.
as we call it. The trash.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, you guys are kind of met by this. Oh, this is the one we want. Here we go. Well, do we want that? We probably don't want that right now. Perhaps. But yeah, so you guys are kind of like the wagons pull up and kind of park themselves around this center bonfire thing, and Stanimir just like hops down, stretches his back, and then kind of waits on the ground for you guys to exit the wagons.
I'll hop off and I'll help the young lady down as well.
She kind of takes your hand. She's like, "Thank you."
Just give her a nod.
As Stanimir jumps off, Thread's gonna jump off the other side of the front of the wagon, and he's just gonna stand there like surveying his surroundings, just trying to get a grasp of where he is and just keep an eye out on things.
Can I also ask the girl driving the cart what her name is?
Oh, Julia.
Julia. Just Julia.
Okay, let's just do this, just so you guys can see a little something.
I need to get like highlighters or something.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have a whole like
get color-coded system.
heck yeah, dude. Little tabs gonna look like it's a like a CSI board.
Yeah. So you guys are kind of dropped off on these wagons, and Stanimir just kind of like brushes off his shoulder, and he's like, "Well, what a trip! I'm gonna miss those idiots in Neverwinter. I'm sure I'll be back soon. Anyways, whoa, big,
Whoa.
big Henry."
Wrong button.
um, but something you guys do take note of is there's a few folk that are sitting around the fire, having what seems to be like a ghost story slash story time. Like some tales are being told. But Stanimir just kind of points. Uh, Let me see here. The bigger tent that's near the water. You guys can. I don't know if you guys can see it really from this point. Yeah, you guys can probably see it, right? Do I have everyone on the map? I'm missing somebody. Who am I missing? Oh, you just made yourself really tiny.
No, I can do
I
it.
did no such thing.
I can do it to everybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's weird.
I can just make him real tiny.
Oh, jeez. He's too powerful.
I'm just strong.
But Stanimir kind of points over to the tent, and he's like, "You'll find Madame Eva there. Perhaps she could enlighten you about the troubles we face."
And then will we be able to head back to city?
I suggest you ask Madame Eva that. Keep that on the tip of your tongue. I'm sure she'd like to give you some insight. But there are some folks that are sitting by the fire that are telling a story. Is anyone kind of listening in?
Yeah, I'll sit down and I'll listen in and keep a watch. Before I do that, I'll approach Thrud and just you know I'll let him know. I'll keep watch for a little bit if you want to take care of business.
I'll just give him a small nod and a pat on the back. Just be on your guard.
I will. I'm gonna sit around and keep an ear open and a keen eye.
I appreciate it, Henry.
Shriek, what are you doing at this moment?
I think Shriek goes to Madame Eva,
Okay.
or the tent that Madame Eva was supposed to be in. He kind of gets down, looking again visibly whatever, and then decides that that's where he's gonna go.
Valid. Augustus, are you interested in the story at the campfire here, or are you gonna head straight to Madame Eva's?
I think I'm more so wanting to see what is going on with Madame Eva. Don, are you wanting to come here as well, or are you wanting to maybe stay with Henry?
He's muted.
Sure is.
I hit it and it'll unmute me and then mute me again really quick, and it's like really, it's, I don't know what's going on, but I think I'll listen to the story and I'll kind of take a look around. So start walking around in circles around this fire, kind of keeping an eye out while still listening to the story.
Fidgeting.
Yeah.
What if you invented the universe's first fidget spinner?
That might be what has to happen.
Candy.
Okay, so right. Something that this kind of happens is an older woman whose face is so pudgy that like her eyes seem as though like they're just shut, but she seems to be looking around and like has a full-on conversation and interacts with folks and kind of sees you all kind of arrive and then kind of goes back to recounting her story. But at the fire, a certain Vistani kind of recounts a tale. A mighty wizard came to this land over a year ago. I remember him like it was yesterday. He stood exactly where you're standing, and he points to you, Henry, and she points to you, Henry. A very charismatic man he was. He thought he could rally the people of Barovia against the devil Strahd. He stirred them with thoughts of revolt and bore them to the castle en masse. When the vampire appeared, the wizard's peasant army fled in terror. A few stood their ground and were never seen again. The wizard and the vampire cast spells at each other. Their battle flew from the courtyards of Ravenloft to a precipice overlooking the falls. I saw the battle with my own eyes, and she points, and like you could tell they're like how, first of all. Thunder shook the mountainside, and great rocks tumbled down upon the wizard. Yet by his magic he survived. Lightning from the heavens struck the wizard, and again he stood his ground. But when the devil Strahd fell upon him, the wizard's magic couldn't save him. I saw him thrown 1,000 feet to his death. And I climbed down to the river to search for the wizard's body to see if, he had anything of value, but the river Ivlis had already spirited him away. I can't quite remember the wizard's name, but anyways, you two new people, the little rabbit-looking person and the small, bite-sized person. If you're new here, you should probably go meet up with our leader, Madame Eva. She's the, how do you say, the oracle? No, that's not right. The elder? She has probably a thing or two to tell you about. And this kind of seemingly perhaps falls asleep after her story's finished.
Well, that was a bit odd, was it?
The first thing that you've seen that's odd today. Did
No.
you not see the man that appeared and disappeared and then flew off?
I mean, I spoke with him, but just a weird story, I guess.
Well, you know what they say about stories. Just walk off towards the tent.
Okay.
I guess I'll just kind of sit there, confused. Keep an eye out, I guess.
Okay. You guys are heading towards the tent at this point, correct?
Yes.
Grab something really quick. It is so freaking hot in this little cubby hole I have of a room, and I might just pass away. It's so spicy. I can't wait for winter time where I'm not like boiling into 1,000,000 degrees of weather.
It's because you in there. Ow!
Dude, it's freaking crazy.
You have like a window in the room?
No, it's just a straight up closet. It's like it was called a storage room on the listing when we looked at the house. So I'm not really 100% keen on what the fuck happened or why this place exists, but it does, and here we are. So, you guys head through the through this encampment, and like it has that same vibe that you got from the camp that was outside of the um, Neverwinter, and it's just like they're almost living like without inhibition. Like they're just having a good time, like chatting it up. Um, you approach this larger tent that you can only assume is presumably the elder's tent, and it's the door to this tent is kind of like the drapes that would like be the door are kind of pulled back and tied off. As you approach this tent, you can see there's magic flames that cast a reddish shadow and or a reddish glow over the interior of this tent. It reveals a low table that's covered in a black velvet cloth. There's like glints of light seem to flash from a crystal ball on the table as a hunched figure peers into its depths. As the crone speaks, her voice cackles like dry weeds. At last you have arrived. The cackling laughter bursts like mad lightning from her withered lips. I am Madam Eva. Welcome. You. She points at you, Shriek. Your name is Shriek, and you've been separated. How sad. You, and points at you, Augustus. Your name is Augustus? You come from a different plane altogether? Strange. Not quite unlike this place. And you, tall, orcish figure, your bloodline may scare people, but there are many folk who tremble before Thrud. Oh, Henry! A welcome, child. Will you do your parents proud? Will you be the one? Perhaps? And you, little one, Adan. You couldn't cut it as a merchant, so you decided to make things interesting? Anyways, have you come to have your fortune read? I can tell you what the future lies. And she kind of like displays her hands out on the table for you guys to like perhaps sit down across from her.
Oh yeah. Shriek kind of runs over.
Henry just kind of stands there confused.
Yeah,
How
think-
did
I'll also be standing.
how I haven't told anyone that.
I can see it on your soul. I'm a divinator. I know things.
See it on your soul.
Yes, I can see it. Your aura's bad vibes.
Henry just takes his gi and like closes it a little bit.
Look at my soul.
Peeking at my soul.
Madame, we were not exactly sent here for fortune telling.
What were you? You were sent here?
Stanimir sent us, said that we should speak to you. We have apparently been brought here, and he's alluding to the fact that we are not able to leave, that we were asked for some assistance with a prince of yours.
The Lord Strahd?
He did not give a name.
That is who he refers to. If you would entertain me for just a few minutes. We can have a more intimate conversation. What would you say?
Very well.
Hmm. Uh, so is Shriek the only one sitting? Everyone else
Are
is
there just a whole bunch of chairs, or are you just
no,
sitting
no.
on the ground?
This table's kind of low, kind of like maybe a foot off the ground. So like she's like sitting cross-legged on the other side, and kind of has invited you guys to sit on like there's like a nice carpet in here. It's like a very fine and it's got like a very nice pattern to it. Um, but she kind of invites you guys to like sit down on the carpet. But if you want to stand, that's fine. I was just trying to set the scene.
Yeah, I think I'll kind of sigh and slowly sit down.
Adon sits down towards the edge of the tent and starts pulling things out of his pouch. Working.
Throat
Okay.
Throat, are you in here?
Yeah, I'm here for now.
I meant like, are you in the tent?
Yeah, I was making my way there with everyone.
Oh, okay. I will um I'll sit. If Throat's gonna sit down, I'll sit down with him.
Uh, Throat's just gonna stand. If he sits, he's gonna be taking up a lot of room at 6'5", cross-legged.
It's spacious in here. It's like a 30-foot wide tent. Like it's definitely plenty of room.
I guess Throat will sit in the back behind the group.
Okay. She produces a deck of cards,
Ooh.
tarot cards,
Uh,
and she begins to shuffle them. Um. Uh, and they're very. I'm showing you. I'm shuffling them. They're a very worn set of cards. You can tell they've seen some age. So I have some stuff written over here in my handy dandy notebook. She's gonna look at the party and she's like, "Well, I guess. You guys ready for this? I'm gonna tell you some future stuff. Okay. Okay. The first card. This card tells of history. Knowledge of of the ancient will help you better understand your enemy." And she flips it over, and you see before you. Let me do this so you can see. It's the two of swords. It's a paladin. You can see on this card, it's a man kind of standing with a sword and shield. And she's kind of like quivers a bit, and she's like, I can see. Let me see what page this is on. Okay. I can see a sleeping prince. This is where note taking comes into play. I can see a sleeping prince, a servant of light, and the brother of darkness. This treasure lies with him. And she goes and pulls another card. And places it down on the table, kind of on the other side of the crystal ball. And she kind of, you look at it and she's like, this card tells of a powerful force for good and protection, a holy symbol of great hope. And this is the card you see. It is the wizard card. It's got like this cool wizard on it. Let me see where the wizard is at. Okay. Look for the wizard's tower on a lake. Let the wizard's name and servant guide you to that which you seek.
Apparently, that wizard just scared the hell out of somebody.
Dude, straight up.
That screams of the sirens came.
She flips over the third card. Ooh. This card is a card of power and strength. It tells of a weapon of vengeance, a sword of sunlight. And she places down the card. It's kind of hard to see because of the white balance. Oh, there we go. That looks good. She sets down a 2 of stars, known as, and it has, it says words on it, the Diviner. Actually, I think this treasure's right under my nose. Huh. Anyways. She pulls a 4th card and sets it down. This card sheds light on one who will help you greatly in the battle against darkness. And she places down the Beast card. Spooky. Where's the Beast? Oh, okay. A werewolf holds a secret. Hatred for your enemy. Use her hatred to your advantage. She puts down a 5th card.
Write it down, write that down.
Your enemy is a creature of darkness whose powers are beyond mortality. This card will lead you right to him. And she sets down the Artifact card. And it has like this skull, carved skull floating in some sort of liquid. He lurks in the darkness where the morning light once shone. It is a sacred place. So,
Everybody furiously making notes.
interesting. Your future tells of an enemy here. All of your futures are intertwined. Perhaps for eternity, if you cannot escape this place. Well, now that I'm done reading your future with these beautiful cards, she kind of grabs them off the table and shuffles them back into her deck and sets them underneath the small table. What is it? Is there anything more I can help you with?
Well, how do we leave this place?
That's the cool part. You don't. And she's kind of just like smiling. Let's see. She's just kind of like, hands are kind of just continuously like rolling over themselves, and she's like, the curse that's been placed on our Lord Strahd has also been placed on everything within this valley. Strahd conquered this land centuries ago, named it after his father, King Brav. I'm fairly convinced that he uses wolves in
bats and other creatures to spy on this realm of his. Just be careful. I hope Stanimir expressed the importance of not veering off the roads here. Um, it's dangerous in the woods. There's all sorts of creatures, and you also don't know who might be watching you. Like it or not, you five are now prisoners here in Barovia. There is no escape, not even in death.
Jesus. Henry's
Drink.
just gonna get up and walk out, get a breath.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was a little much for Henry.
Shriek will get up and just kind of like bow deeply to tarot card reading lady,
Okay.
and then
Tarot card reading lady.
and then walk out as well.
Okay. The only way to leave this place is to break the curse on Lord Strahd, but I wouldn't advise heading right for his castle. And she kind of points up across the lake that's right outside her tent, and you can see kind of just sitting very ominously across the way is a massive castle. And she's just like, if I were you, I would take your time. This is your home now. I appreciate you coming to see me. And your fates are intertwined, as is mine with Lord Strahd. Well, I best get some rest. Divinating that much in one go has been getting much on an old lady here. As you guys kind of are not escorted, but kind of given the idea that she would like to close up her tent for the night and get some rest, that's where we'll end tonight's session. We'll pick up on it next week.
Snap.
Oh man.
Okay. Well,
Potion.
happy episode 1, everyone.
Yes.
Well, I just
Section
wrote,
one.
instead of Strahd, I just wrote Strap. So
Whoa,
it's a great
Curse of Strap.
The Curse of Strap. I got 2 pages of notes, boys. Holy
First is being
Whoa.
strapped up.
curse of being
That's
curse
it?
of being strapped, bro.
Also, I realized I don't even have like a bedroll in my inventory.
Was there one in your D&D Beyond inventory? Because I might need to like add some stuff in.
I don't think so.
It's probably you
I have
probably
other
left
stuff.
it right next to your hand axe that you grabbed when you came back.
Yeah, maybe. I have stuff like rations
I know,
and
buddy.
that sort of thing.
He
but I
didn't.
don't-
He didn't even bring
that
his
wasn't part of the
toothbrush.
pack.
Oh no, not the toothbrush.
I just came here to fix a cart.
Next week we'll be back 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. I believe Augustus, you will be working. Probably,
Yeah,
right?
for the first half.
Okay. So thanks for hanging out and watching. We'll catch you next week.
Heck yeah! We will see everybody next week, same time, same place, and as always, say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.